welcome you all. Thank you very much for joining in. Thank you very much for giving your time. Hi Anuj. Hi Amarnath. How are you?
Awesome, Kashif.
GM.
First, GM. First of all, guys, congratulations यार. I'm so happy for you. 11 जनवरी 1:11 पे लॉन्च. मतलब तुम्हारे लॉन्च की भी पीछे एक स्ट्रेटेजी थी. मतलब 11th of January 11/1/1/11. This is like super cool यार. मतलब I mean you guys are already into some different kind of a zone where in your planning you have even figured out at what time. So क्या कुछ पंडित जी ने बोला था, कुछ वास्तु का था, तो ये भी मैं जानना चाहूंगा because there might be a case where पंडित जी said 1:11 पे करना. So I'll try and figure out that as well.
I think ये काफी सारा incidental भी है. हमारा ऐसा कोई प्लान नहीं था.
Okay.
हम लोग फर्स्ट वीक ऑफ जनवरी में लॉन्च करने के लिए देख रहे थे.
हाँ.
And then we figured out, okay, 9-10 तारीख, and then we thought we wanted to do a soft launch because testing वगैरह everything will take certain amount of time. So हम लोग 10 तारीख को करने के लिए सोचे थे, फिर सोचा 11/1/1 सही रहेगा. And we thought why not 1/11 itself.
Amazing यार, amazing. तो आज इसको ना हम इस तरीके से करने जा रहे हैं. How the flow of this discussion is going to be, because the way this space is evolving, the way this space is growing, the way Web3 is taking the narrative mainstream, जिस तरीके से चीजें डेवलप हो रही हैं, जो टेक है, जो प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, वो भी इवॉल्व हो रहे हैं और वो बहुत तेजी से इवॉल्व हो रहे हैं. बट उतनी तेजी से जो लोगों की जो नॉलेज है, जो लोगों की अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, वो इवॉल्व होती नहीं दिख रही. because there is so much of noise happening in this space. There are so many projects, so many tokens, so many stuff is happening that they are not able to figure out that what is the one which is really going to work, या मुझे क्या चीज समझनी चाहिए, क्या ट्रेंड इवॉल्व होने वाला है. तो because since your project is solving something very interesting and that is quite inspiring for me, because I took a little while to understand what you guys are doing, to be very honest. It took me a little while to understand that.
Right.
It took me a little while to relate that thing, but the moment I got a little bit of understanding of it, I will not say it's 100% today. After this space probably I'll also have the best of the understandings. और बहुत सारे लोग ऐसे होंगे जिनको आज वॉल क्या कर रहा है Web3 में. जैसे कि ये वही बात हो गई कि पॉलीगॉन क्या करेगा. 2018 में लोग पूछते थे क्या होगा यार, क्या करेगा, प्लाज्मा क्या होता है, ये स्केलिंग क्यों चाहिए इथेरियम को, तो उस समय में लोग सोचते थे पॉलीगॉन के बारे में. सो एक सिमिलर फीलिंग होती है जब हम कोई चीज नई प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करना चाहते हैं. There are many people who look at you, at the project with a little bit of apprehension, suspicion या confusion कि यार ये क्या ये reality है, क्या ये ऐसा होगा. So what I'll do, I'll keep this discussion in English also and in Hindi as well. Why? And आप भी इसको अपने comfort के हिसाब से, you can just explain it in English. मैं उसको हिंदी में convert करके बता दूंगा. But मेरा objective आज पता है क्या है? एक to enjoy and celebrate what you have achieved. आज launch है, launch हो चुका है 1:11 पे finally. और आज हम ये समझेंगे कि वॉल इतना important क्यों है, क्या करने जा रहा है, क्या ये Web3 के अंदर ये सोशल मीडिया की जो मैंने ना एक ट्वीट किया. if you saw, I said you guys say that blockchain is kind of a social media network only, and the profile, जैसे लोगों की profiles होती है, वहां पे जो on chain लोगों का जो एड्रेस है और जो उनकी एक्टिविटी है, वो उनकी प्रोफाइल का पूरा एक एक्टिविटी है जो वहां पे एक डेटा कोलेक्ट हो रहा है. सो वो मैंने एक ट्वीट भी इसीलिए किया, तो वो लोगों के शायद सर के ऊपर से निकल गया हो कि क्या बात बोल दी. आज हम थोड़ा सा इसको और इजी करेंगे अनुज और अमरनाथ, ताकि लोगों को एक बार ही ये समझ में आ जाए कि अनुज और अमरनाथ मिलके कर क्या रहे हैं. तो सबसे पहले अनुज और अमरनाथ, यू कैन बिगिन विद योर इंट्रोडक्शन अबाउट योरसेल्फ एंड फ्रॉम वेयर यू स्टार्टेड and what Wall is going to achieve and what is that problem that you are trying to solve in the future.
Absolutely. So maybe सबसे पहले मैं अपना खुद का एक introduction देना चाहूँगा, and then maybe we can go from there. मैं graduate किया हूँ काफी पहले 2011 में IIT खड़गपुर से. फिर मैं 2 साल काम किया, फिर मैं IIM कैलकाटा गया.
Wow. ये नहीं पता था, सीरियसली ये नहीं पता था. सॉरी, मतलब IIT खड़गपुर, IIM अहमदाबाद, I mean, ये नहीं पता था, ये aspect मुझे भी नहीं पता था. So great, amazing.
So then उसके बाद IIM Calcutta के बाद 2015 में I joined Ola and worked at the founder's office. वहाँ पे मैं 2 साल काम किया. We launched Ola Leasing and ये सब experience देख के मेरे को लगा मेरे को खुद का कुछ करना चाहिए. And 2017 में around मैं Ola छोड़ा था to start building a poker product. मैं पोकर में काफ़ी पैशनेट था. मैं पोकर में एक प्लेटफॉर्म बनाना चाह रहा था. उसके लिए मैंने छोड़ा था. और फिर मैं जैसे पोकर में वो बनाने चालू किया, मेरे को एक था कि ओवरऑल मल्टीपल इश्यूज थे मेरे को द वे पोकर इंडस्ट्री वाज वर्किंग. एक तो जो गेम को गेम की तरह माना नहीं जाता है, वो एक एक्चुअली माइंड स्पोर्ट है जिसको जुआ के ऑलमोस्ट दोनों साथ में रखे जाते हैं. तो देयर वाज दैट होल पर्सपेक्टिव चेंज व्हिच आई वांटेड टू ब्रिंग, क्योंकि पोकर मेरे लाइफ में ऐसे चीज़ें बता रहा था अपने बारे में जो मेरे को बहुत इट कंपेल्ड मी टू स्टार्ट लुकिंग एट माई सेल्फ. सो this narrative is what I wanted to kind of bring about a change in India. That's when मैं pivot करके मैं poker player बन गया.
Okay.
Did that for about 2.5-3 years. Managed to do well. My best rank in India was number 2 in tournaments.
That's amazing.
एंड देन मैं बीच में पोकरबाजी का ब्रांड एम्बेसडर भी बन गया, उनके लिए स्ट्रीमिंग कर रहा था. built a poker product on the side. So all of this was happening. I had my YouTube channel where I used to talk about mindset coaching primarily. So that's my background. And then I knew Amar for over 10 years. Amar will talk about his background. But
तुम्हारी जो जोड़ी है वो अमर है. Amazing.
Yes. So
okay.
And then we started talking about Web3 and NFTs early this year, and one thing led to another, and we started Wall. So Amar, on to you, please.
Oh, that's amazing. A decade-year-old relationship you guys have.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, I think a little more than a decade also. So, I'll just give a quick intro, right? So my journey as an entrepreneur started in 2015, 2016. We were the first ones to pilot out in-cab entertainment and taxi top as well as advertisements, and we did this with Ola in Bangalore for about 100 cabs. Later, so the advertisements, the taxi top advertisements and in-cab entertainment. Later, Ola mentioned like this can't be a piece of business that is outside; it has to be part of Ola. So that's when a part of our team got acquired, and I jumped to my next entrepreneurship journey, which was into VR. So during this, it was a very interesting phase because even now we are not seeing mainstream VR. You can imagine how it would have been in like 2016, 2017. So something very strange happened. So I was helping a bunch of brands set up their VR engagement. So in a span of 6 months, the price of graphic cards shot up by 45%. And now this got me really thinking what is happening. I took some time out, went and read NVIDIA annual reports, AMD annual reports, and realized a lot of these people are actually buying these for mining. And this was like 2016, late 2016, right? So very fortunately, I met a bunch of friends in Hyderabad, really cool bunch of friends. One of them was already a part of the crypto ecosystem burgeoning from Silicon Valley. So we formed together a team and we started our first project. We launched an ICO at that point. It's called Sentinel. It's a decentralized VPN. So build that out, saw the whole cycle, right? Like we raised $2 million, then the crypto winter came, then still we were kept on building the product. The project is really successful right now, and the Cosmos ecosystem has around 400,000 users, 500,000 users using the VPN, monthly active users. So something that I realized all through this while is I'm extremely interested in building B2C products, and networking was not my core forte. So right around that time, late last year, so being in the space, I knew about NFTs, what they were, what purpose they solved, but late last year, it really blew my mind because for the first time ever, so if crypto is like a marriage of finance and technology, this current wave of crypto is about finance plus technology plus culture. Now it is the first time ever culture could actually be culture can actually have a tangible value to it, and now that is based on what someone else is perceiving it to be. So that really excited me a lot. I reached out to Anuj and I spoke to him. We kept talking for hours and hours. And then, yeah, I mean, one thing led to another. We were like, okay, this is going to be like a wealth generation event for everybody in the creator ecosystem. So it's important for people to realize what this whole space is about. And that gave the inception for Wall.
Oh wow, that's amazing. So एक चीज तो क्लियर हो गई. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि अगर आपका एक वेरिड बैकग्राउंड हो ना, आपने डिफरेंट इंडस्ट्रीज में काम किया हो और डिफरेंट चीज़ों को डिफरेंट तरीके से आपने अगर लाइफ में किया हो, तो कई बार लोग ये सोचते हैं, जैसे कई बार कहते हैं कि यार मैंने लाइफ में ये किया, धक्के खाए, मैंने यहाँ करा, मैंने वहाँ जॉब करी, मैंने ये एक्सपीरियंस लिया. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जितने भी सक्सेसफुल लोग हैं आज दुनिया में, अगर आप उनकी हिस्ट्री देखो तो उन्होंने वो चीज डे वन से नहीं करी जो वो आज वो कर रहे हैं. उन्होंने कुछ लाइफ में अलग अलग इंडस्ट्रीज में वेरिड जॉब प्रोफाइल्स करे, तभी उसके बाद वो जो एक्सपीरियंस कोलेट होता है वो कहीं ना कहीं ओवरऑल ऑब्जेक्टिव को मीट आउट करने में हेल्प करता है. जैसे कि आज एक मैं पढ़ रहा था कि सीजी ने, चाहे वो माइक्रो स्ट्रैटेजी का माइकल सेलर है, इन सब लोगों ने भी अपने टाइम में कभी किसी ने बर्गर को फ्लिप किया है, किसी ने मैकडी में काम किया, और किसी ने क्रिप्टो एक्सचेंज के अंदर काम किया, किसी ने कहीं काम किया. एंड सिमिलरली ये एक्सपीरियंसेस बड़ा फैसिनेट करते हैं मुझे. जैसे अनुज और तुम, मतलब तुमने उस टाइम पे ओला के अंदर यू वर्कड ऑन दी इन कैब ब्रांडिंग. जिस टाइम पे हम लोग जब एयरपोर्ट से निकलते थे, मैं बैठता था, मैं कहता था यार बड़ा सॉलिड आइडिया यार ये ओला का. आई रिमेम्बर दैट टाइम. वो एक टैब भी लगा होता था. There you used to get all those information.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
And the thing is, that's when we actually again got back in touch after a while, when Amar reached out saying कि हाँ मैं ये करना चाहता हूँ. And unfortunately or fortunately, depends on how you look at it, ओला ने बोला हम ये आइडिया बहुत अच्छा है, हम खुद कर लेंगे.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? Like,
It is what, yeah.
gotta
ठीक है.
respect the decisions, yeah.
ठीक है, that is part and parcel of it.
Yeah,
So,
and अगर शायद वो सब एक चीज नहीं होता तो फिर अभी जो हो रहा है वो नहीं होता है.
नहीं, बट एक्चुअली पता क्या है, वो कॉन्फिडेंस ये भी तो आता है, चल यार मेरा आइडिया वर्क तो किया ना यार, ठीक है यार किसी ने तो लिया, ठीक है चल कोई नहीं, I'll figure out something.
I'm very proud, right? Like whenever I get into an Ola cab and I actually see a tablet over there, I'm very proud of it.
अच्छा, तो that is originally your idea.
I mean, what is original and what is not? No idea.
Yeah, but then
we piloted out with Ola first. That's what.
Amazing.
So later we got some really good results, and then we gave those results to them, and they were also excited about it. And yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So, अगर अनुज मुझे, I want to start from you. If you can just tell us कि how this NFT space is evolving, और उसमें कहाँ पे वॉल को ऐसी क्या, मतलब तुम्हें और अमरनाथ को ऐसा क्या लगा कि यार ये चीज अगर फिगर आउट हो जाए, और कब वो क्लिक किया वो आइडिया कि यार ये चीज की कमी है, या ये चीज अगर हो जाए तो थिंग्स कुड बी बेटर. बिकॉज मेरे को आज भी ऐसा लगता है कि एनएफटी स्पेस ग्रो तो कर रही है, नो डाउट. वेस्टर्न पार्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड में तो कुछ ज्यादा ही तेजी से ग्रो कर रही है, बट आज भी इंडिया के अंदर इतनी तेजी से ग्रो नहीं कर रही. क्योंकि इंडिया में आज भी, अगर मैं सिर्फ क्रिप्टो कम्युनिटी की बात करूं, फॉरगेट अबाउट नॉन क्रिप्टो, मैं सिर्फ क्रिप्टो कम्युनिटी की बात करूं, तो देयर आर ओनली 24% पीपल हु हैव एक्चुअली बॉट एन एनएफटी. अभी भी 76% लोग हैं जिनको एनएफटी को लेके उनको क्लैरिटी नहीं है, उनको कैसे बिगन करना चाहिए, क्या करना चाहिए. तो इसका मतलब क्या है, कुछ ना कुछ फंडामेंटल इश्यूज हैं अभी भी जहां पे एनएफटी को लेके थोड़ा एप्रीहेंशन है, या एप्रीहेंशन इस वजह से सिर्फ है कि समझ में नहीं आता कि मैं कौन सी एनएफटी लूं. अगर तुम मुझसे पूछो, मुझे तो इस बात में टाइम लग गया कि यार मैं एनएफटी कौन सी लूं, कैसे लूं, कौन सा ट्रेंडिंग एनएफटी है. कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं मैं कोई एनएफटी ले लूं और पता चला वो एनएफटी की वैल्यू 0 हो जाए, या मैं उसको लेके बैठा रहा हूं 10 साल तक उसकी वैल्यू ही ना इंक्रीज हो. तो ये सारे फंडामेंटल इश्यूज है जिनको ना अभी भी मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि एड्रेस नहीं कर रहा कोई. और वॉल कहीं ना कहीं वो एक पहला स्टेप लग रहा है जहां से जो, क्योंकि जितना मैं समझाऊं तुम्हें, कि मैं उसको बाद में अपने तरीके से समझाऊंगा, बट मैं चाहता हूं पहले अनुज और अमरनाथ तुम बताओ कि तुम्हें एनएफटी स्पेस में कब ये क्लिक किया कि क्या डेवलपमेंट्स के अंदर कौन सी ऐसी कमी है और तुम क्या चीज उसके अंदर कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हो, कैसे इंप्रूव कर सकते हो.
So हम लोग when we started looking at the space overall, सबसे पहले हमको we started talking to people and we had few people like friends who were like into entertainment, into movies. तो हम उन लोगों से पहले बात करना चालू किए कि what do you think about this, right? Like आपको क्या लग रहा है, मूवी में आप हो, स्टैंड अप कॉमेडी में आप हो, आपको क्या ये इंटरेस्टिंग लग रहा है कि क्या चीज़ है. And then we saw like a lot of them were interested. Like in fact, we had so many conversations with specifically movies. They wanted to do NFT drops. But then once we started like figuring out कि इनका क्या है, मतलब what is the objective of these drops, कौन खरीदेगा ये सारी चीज़ों को and things like that, then we soon realized कि यार the whole NFT thing works on this aspect that जो जनता आ रही है, those are the people who are going to get value by being early to those projects, and those sorts of projects which have that long-term value building for the initial users are the ones which are being successful. So this was one thing that we realized. And then the second thing, then the obvious next question was, how if we were to create such projects for these guys, how do we do that? दूसरी चीज was, how do people जो नए स्पेस में आ रहा है उनको ये चीज कैसा पता चलेगा कि भाई क्योंकि इतना सारा सामान है, राइट? आई वुडंट नो. दोनों एक तरह के ही दिखेंगे. एक कोई आप लाइक कोई मंकी का इमेज होगा, किसी का कैट का इमेज होगा, दोनों ऑलमोस्ट सिमिलर दिखेंगे. आपको विजुअली उतना समझ में नहीं आएगा या फिर इंफॉर्मेशन देख के समझ में नहीं आएगा कि ये अच्छा है या बुरा है, राइट? तो देन वी स्टार्टेड थिंकिंग अबाउट कि ओके ठीक है, सप्लाई साइड में बहुत लोगों को इंटरेस्ट है ये चीज करने के लिए, बट द रियल लिमिटिंग फैक्टर इज द डिमांड सेट, कि बायर्स क्या चाह रहे हैं, बायर्स के क्या प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, एंड हम ये सारी चीजें कैसे सॉल्व कर सकते हैं. सो दैट इज व्हेन वी स्टार्टेड रियली टॉकिंग टू सम. तो सबसे पहले तो वी स्पोक टू फ्यू पीपल विद इन द स्पेस हु हैव बीन कलेक्टिंग. हमने धीरज से बात किया एंड धीरज टोल्ड अस कि भाई सबसे पहले तो अगर तुम खुद एक NFT का डीजेन कलेक्टर जब तक नहीं बन जाते हो तो तुमको कुछ आइडिया ही नहीं है. तो that's how we started. That's how I bought my first NFT. And था उस टाइम पे एक्चुअली कोविड चल रहा था 2021 के स्टार्टिंग में, एंड there was this NFT which was put out by artist as a support for COVID. So that is something which I resonated most with. So I thought this is a good charity thing that I can get started with. I anyways want to get started, so I bought that. And then I was waiting to like pull my trigger on few things, and then I started looking at Gary V. Gary V बोल रहा था कि if you have been following me for years, this is the one you need to go all in on. तो वो बोल रहा था कि मैं जो भी खरीदेंगे उन सबको वैल्यू में क्रिएट करूंगा. सो नाउ दिस वाज समथिंग व्हिच वाज डिफिकल्ट फॉर मी टू पुल अ ट्रिगर ऑन बिकॉज इट वाज एक्सपेंसिव. कि फक लाइक $3,000 है, हाउ विल आई buy that, right? Like it's a lot of money to put in. So then basically I saw that actually how the value is being created, even though I couldn't take part in that. I missed that. But फिर मेरे को समझ में आया कि because I was involved in it, emotionally involved in it, and I saw कि वो मैं नहीं लेता हूँ तो क्या हो रहा है. तो मैंने एक दो बार जब देखा है कि then I started realizing the difference between a VFriends project, even though the art is shitty looking, बट कुछ और प्रोजेक्ट है जो बहुत अच्छा सुंदर आर्ट है बट उसके पीछे कोई लॉन्ग टर्म वैल्यू नहीं है, तो वो समझ में नहीं आए. लाइक इट वोंट फ्लाई. So then I started understanding these things, and when I started looking at the commonalities between all these things, one thing I realized is that the people who have been in the space for a while, जो 3 4 5 साल से इस स्पेस में है एंड लास्ट 1 2 साल से NFT स्पेस में heavily involved है, those are the people who are doing that research and finding really good stuff and buying them. And ये मेरे को समझ में आया लोगों को ट्विटर में फॉलो करके.
Oh.
Right? So
you basically started following कि ट्विटर पे क्या डिस्कशंस हो रही हैं, क्या ट्रेंड है. राइट ओके.
एंड देन फिर एक और स्टेप में जब अंदर गया कि ये ट्विटर पे लोग बता रहे, फिर मैं ट्विटर के चीजों पे खरीदने लगा. फिर मेरे को समझ में आ गया यार फक, ये तो ऑलरेडी पंप हो गया. ये लोगों ने खरीद के बहुत सारा खरीद लिया, फिर आके बता रहे मेरे को कि भाई ये खरीद ले, बहुत अच्छा है. वो अच्छा है प्रोजेक्ट, ये नहीं बोल रहा हूँ बुरा प्रोजेक्ट शिल कर रहे क्योंकि वो लोग खुद पैसा लगा रहे, बट वो टाइमिंग हिट नहीं हो रहा मेरा. So then I realized कि bro, what is the best way to get this information at the fastest? That is when I realized कि we have to follow the wallet.
Oh. गॉट इट। अच्छा ठीक है, तो एक सेकेंड मैं यहाँ पे रोक रहा हूँ। वॉलेट तो तुम्हें ये फिगर आउट हो गया, ये मेरे साथ भी हुआ। मैंने ना जब जब भी मैं एनएफटी को लेने के लिए फिगर आउट करता हूँ कि चल देखता हूँ यार अब कुछ एनएफटीज कौन से ट्रेंड कर रहे हैं, जब मैं ट्विटर पे जाता हूँ और मैं देखता हूँ वो ऑलरेडी उसके फॉलोअर्स बढ़ चुके होते हैं उस पर्टिकुलर क्रिएटर के। ऑलरेडी जो उसके जो ओरिजिनल एनएफटीज होती हैं वो पंप हो चुकी होती हैं। और जब मैं ओपन सी वगैरह पे देखता हूँ तो उसका जो लास्ट ट्रेडेड प्राइस है और जिस प्राइस पे वो कभी वो लॉन्च हुआ था, वो जब ट्विटर के अंदर पता लग जाता है कि हाउ मच रिटर्न, वो बातें हो रही होती हैं। मैं जैसे ट्विटर पे गया, ठीक है, और ट्विटर पे मैंने ट्रेंडिंग टॉपिक्स को देखा और चीज़ों को देखा तो वो ऑलरेडी पंप हो चुकी होती हैं। उसके बाद फिर मैं कहता हूँ कि यार मैं किसी ग्रुप को ज्वाइन करने की कोशिश करता हूँ, कम्युनिटीज को, एनएफटी की जो कम्युनिटीज है वहां ज्वाइन करने की कोशिश करता हूँ, बट वहां पे भी बहुत शिल हो रही होती हैं चीजें, मतलब वो रियल डिस्कशन नहीं हो रही होती है। तो बहुत डिफिकल्ट होता है और मैं ये सोच के फिर मैं वापस हो जाता हूँ कि यार क्या जो इस प्राइस पे एनएफटीज दिख रही हैं, क्या ये वर्थ है इन पे खरीदना, ये ऑलरेडी पंप हो चुकी हैं। ये मैं मानता हूँ कि ट्विटर इज नॉट प्रोबेबली द राइट प्लेटफॉर्म टू गेज के एनएफटी कौन सी बाय करनी चाहिए या कौन सी नहीं करनी चाहिए, मतलब डिफिकल्ट है। तो ये बिल्कुल एग्जैक्टली तुम वही बात कह रहे हो। सो वहां से फिर क्या हुआ, फिर हाउ यू वर एबल टू सी द फैक्ट्स?
Right. So one thing right away we realized was in the Web2 universe, you have your email ID or you have your Facebook ID or Twitter ID, which people follow. You know, your single point of contact is that. Like how do you correspond Kashif to @ something, right? Now in Web3 that has become the wallet. Very simply put, right? Like your wallet is like the true place where you know what is happening, how it is happening, and when it happens. Except Etherscan is not the right place to do it, right? Like you can't keep tabs on someone's wallet via Etherscan, nor can you converse with people on Etherscan, right? So right away, the insight that we had when we saw this behavior was, look, wallet is the first place we know whether some activity has happened or not. So we started like really looking at wallets and how can we build something where you can actually see what's happening in different communities, what's happening in different wallets, and see what are the actions that they're taking in real time. So this was the key insight that we got right after we realized what Anuj just pointed out.
Yeah, and
Anuj, will you like to add something to it?
yes, absolutely. So जब जब हमको या फिर ये वॉलेट वाली चीज समझ में आई है, देन द अदर नेक्स्ट एस्पेक्ट ऑफ इट इज कि अब वॉलेट को मेरे को फॉलो करना तो करना क्या है। तो एक तो है कि ये तो ओपन ट्रांजैक्शंस है, ये तो ऑन चेन हो रही है, तो ये सबको आइडियली दिख जाना चाहिए। बट हमको दिखता क्यों नहीं है? क्योंकि ये ईथर स्कैन के अंदर है। कहीं मैं ऐसे फॉलो नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ कि मैं, अगर मान लो सिंपल सी बात है, मेरे को एक्चुअली किसी का देखना नहीं है, मेरे को बस अमरनाथ का वॉलेट देखना है कि मेरे को कॉन्फिडेंस है कि मेरा एक दोस्त है, ये मेरे पास, मेरे दोनों का, हम लोगों का बजट सेम है और ये कुछ रिसर्च करके चीजें खरीदेगा अगर ये खरीद रहा है, राइट? तो मेरे को बस ये अपडेट रखना है कि भाई ये बंदा जब खरीद रहा है मेरे को कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन मिल जाए, ये सारी चीजें खरीद रहा है बोल के। सो the wallet is out there, so all the information is out there, it's just that it is not aggregated and shown into a good feed sort of a thing. So that is where we started thinking about how this can be, like मैं कौन से wallets हैं मैं जो follow करना चाहता हूँ. So that is how we kind of come up with what we have right now at Wall.
यार मैं इसको अमेजिंग, मतलब मैं समझ गया। मैं I was listening to you guys, I was just closing my eyes and I was just trying to relate to what you guys are saying. And कुछ लोगों को मेरी बात सिर्फ इसलिए भी पसंद आती है, अनुज और अमरनाथ, कि वो कहते हैं कि सर आपकी बात ना थोड़ा इजी तरीके से आप समझा देते हो। आपने जो समझाया उसको मैं एक एनालॉजी में फिट करने की कोशिश करता हूँ, हो सकता है मैं गलत भी हूँ, लेकिन उसको आप करेक्ट कर देना, अगर कहीं ऐड कर देना। जैसे कि सपोज करो मुझे वन फाइन डे मुझे बाइकिंग का शौक चढ़ता है एंड मुझे ऐसा फील होता है कि मुझे बाइकिंग करनी, मुझे बुलेट लेनी है। और मुझे जो बुलेट्स का जो राइडर्स क्लब होता है मेरे शहर के अंदर, जो लोग बाइक लेके शिलोंग निकल जाते हैं, मिजोरम निकल जाते हैं, 8-8 10-10 दिन, कोई लद्दाख जा रहा है, कोई ले जा रहा है, आई रियली गेट फैसिनेटेड। यार मुझे भी ये करना है लाइफ में, राइट? सो हाउ आई डू दैट? तो मैं क्या करता हूँ, सबसे पहले तो मैं बाइक खरीदता हूँ। अब मैं बाइक कौन सी खरीदूं? मैं बाइक के अंदर कौन से ऐसे चीजें लगवाऊं, मैं बाइक के ऊपर कौन सा जैकेट लूं, कौन से ऐसे गार्ड्स लूं, मुझे ऐसे कौन से लोग हैं जो अपने ग्रुप में शामिल करेंगे, किस ग्रुप के साथ में जाऊं, कौन से रूट पे जाऊं, मैं उस बाइकिंग फर्टिलिटी का पार्ट कैसे बनूं, मैं ये कैसे पता करूं कि बाइकर्स क्या करते हैं, बाइकर्स का लाइफस्टाइल क्या होता है, वो खरीदते कैसे हैं, वो बाइक्स के गैजेट्स, बाइक की चीजों को कब खरीदते हैं, कब रूट प्लान कर रहे हैं, कौन सा नया रूट जाने वाला है। क्योंकि मैं अकेला बाइक लेके नहीं निकल सकता लद्दाख में, मुझे ग्रुप में जाना है, मुझे लंबे ग्रुप में, मुझे ग्रुप का पार्ट बनना है, बाइकिंग ग्रुप का पार्ट बनना है। तो मैं क्या करता हूं, मैं फेसबुक पे जाता हूं और फेसबुक पे जाने के बाद मैं सर्च करता हूं बाइकिंग फर्टर्निटी इन न्यू दिल्ली और बॉम्बे और बैंगलोर, या बुलेट या एनफील्ड बाइकिंग ग्रुप इन बैंगलोर, और मुझे कुछ कम्युनिटीज मिलती हैं और मैं उस कम्युनिटी के अंदर एंटर करने की कोशिश करता हूँ। अगर तो वो क्लोज ग्रुप है तो मुझे एडमिन की परमिशन चाहिए, अगर वो ओपन है तो मैं वहां जाके ओपनली उसको लाइक कर देता हूँ। उसके अंदर अब मुझे कुछ बाइकर्स दिखते हैं, मैं उनके प्रोफाइल पे क्लिक करता हूँ, उनके पेज पे जाता हूँ, वहां से मैं देखता हूँ, ओ यार अच्छा यार ऋषभ को देखो यार, ओ कूल मैन, ओ इसने अभी तक 8 दिन का एक ट्रिप मारा है गुजरात का, ओ इसने जिम कॉर्बेट का ट्रिप मारा है, इसने यहाँ का ट्रिप मारा है, अच्छा ये क्या क्या ले रहा है, कौन सी बाइक ले रहा है, कौन से रूट पे जा रहा है। सो आई एम ट्राइंग टू गेट दैट इंफॉर्मेशन फ्रॉम फेसबुक, फ्रॉम हिज प्रोफाइल, और आफ्टर ज्वाइनिंग इज दिस थिंग। अगर वो फेसबुक पे नहीं होता, अगर वो कम्युनिटी फेसबुक पे नहीं होती, तो मुझे इतनी इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं मिल पाती, ना मैं उस बाइकिंग जो मेरा सपना है या मैं बाइकिंग को जो करना चाहता हूं उसके बारे में इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं बटोर पाता, मैं राइट डिसीजन नहीं ले पाता अगर मुझे वो बाइकिंग फर्टिलिटी या बाइकिंग के प्रोफाइल्स नहीं मिलते फेसबुक पे या ट्विटर पे या इंस्टाग्राम पे, राइट। तो मैं वेब 2 के अंदर प्रोफाइल्स पे जाके, कम्युनिटीज में जाके, कम्युनिटीज के अंदर क्या हो रहा है वहां से इंफॉर्मेशन निकालता हूं और अपनी लाइफ में जो मैं डिसीजन लेना चाहता हूं वो उसको बेटर तरीके से ले पाता हूं। अब
हाँ
वेब
जी।
थ्री अब वेब थ्री के अंदर तो प्रोफाइल्स है नहीं, वेब थ्री के अंदर फेसबुक है नहीं, वेब थ्री के अंदर ट्विटर नहीं है, वेब थ्री के अंदर इंस्टाग्राम नहीं है, लेकिन मैं फिर भी वहां पे एनएफटीज लेना चाहता हूं यार। और मुझे पता चलना चाहिए कि वो कौन से ऐसे लोग हैं, और वो जो लोग इसमें ओजीज है, ओरिजिनल गैंगस्टर्स हैं, मतलब उनको ढूंढूं यार, वो क्या कर रहे हैं, और उनसे मैं एक ट्रेंड को देखूं कि कौन सी एनएफटी वो बाय कर रहे हैं, कौन से ट्रेंड बन रहा है, कम्युनिटीज वहां पे कैसे ट्रेंड बना रही है, वहां पे डिस्कशंस क्या हो रही हैं, फोरम्स के अंदर ट्रांजैक्शंस कौन सी हो रही है, कौन सी एनएफटी बाय और सेल हो रही है। तो ये तो वेब 2 में तो पॉसिबल था। अब वेब 3 के अंदर एक्चुअली में आपकी एक प्रोफाइल है, मेरा जो इथेरियम का एड्रेस है या मेरा जो पब्लिक एड्रेस है किसी भी ब्लॉकचेन का, वो मेरा प्रोफाइल एड्रेस ही तो है। उस प्रोफाइल एड्रेस के अंदर मेरे पोजेशंस है, मेरे कॉइन्स हैं, मेरा क्रिप्टो की ट्रांजैक्शंस है, मेरी एनएफटी की पोजेशंस है। वो एनएफटी की पोजेशंस, मेरा जो प्रोफाइल था वो ईथर स्कैन पे था। ईथर स्कैन के ऊपर ये पॉसिबल नहीं था कि आप वहां जाके लोगों को इंडिविजुअली सर्च कर पाओ या आप देख पाओ कि किसके पास क्या पोजीशन है। अगर आपको पब्लिक एड्रेस पता है तो ही आप उसके पर्टिकुलर एड्रेस पे जा सकते हो। लेकिन इमेजिन करो एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म जहां पे जितनी भी पोजीशंस हैं लोगों के पास, जिस कम्युनिटी के अंदर, सपोज कूल कैट के अंदर की जो कम्युनिटी है, उनके जितने भी पब्लिक एड्रेसेस हैं उसके बेसिस पे जो वहां डिस्कशंस हो रही है, जो प्रोफाइल्स है, जो एक एक डेटा जो है सारा कोलेट करके आपको वो डेटा वॉल के ऊपर दिख रहा है, कम्युनिटीज प्रोफाइल वो क्या खरीद रहे हैं, क्या बेच रहे हैं, जो ओजीज हैं एनएफटीज में वो कैसे बिहेव कर रहे हैं, उनका हाउ दे आर बाइंग बिहेवियर कैसा है, किसके बारे में वो बात कर रहे हैं, नया एनएफटी वो कौन सा है जिसके बारे में वहां पे डिस्कशन हो रहा है, ये ओजी ने नई वाली चीज कौन सी खरीदी जो आज लगता है कि ये बहुत ही बेसिक, मतलब बहुत ही इनिशियल डेज में उसने बाय करा है, अभी इसका प्राइस पंप नहीं करा। सो ऑल दिस काइंड ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन मैं पहले वेब 2 में सोशल मीडिया नेटवर्क से जनरेट करता था, आज मैं वेब 3 के अंदर वॉल के ऊपर जाके जनरेट करूंगा ये सारी इंफॉर्मेशन। एक्चुअली वॉल क्या कर रहा है, वॉल इकोनॉमीज को स्केल कर रहा है बेसिकली, जो और अभी तो सिर्फ एनएफटी को कर रहा है, कल को प्ले टू अर्न और भी बहुत जितने भी एस्पेक्ट्स हैं डीफाई एनएफटी स्पेस में, उनको भी वहां पे जो इकोनॉमी से वो स्केल होंगी। क्यों? क्योंकि जब लोग बेटर डिसीजन ले पाएंगे, लोगों की जब डिसीजन मेकिंग को आप इजी करोगे, मतलब लोगों को सपोज करो कि ये कॉन्फिडेंस आ गया किसी टेक्नोलॉजी को चलाने का, या किसी टेक्नोलॉजी को बाय करने से पहले उनको इंफॉर्मेशन अगर जल्दी मिलने लगी इजियर फॉर्म में, तो उन लोगों को, जैसे ये कह लो कि क्रिप्टो एक्सचेंज है, वजीर एक्स है या कॉइन डीसीएक्स है, एक बेटर इन्फॉर्म्ड इन्वेस्टर ज्यादा पैसा इन्वेस्ट करेगा रादर देन के एक कम इन्फॉर्म्ड इन्वेस्टर। मैं हमेशा कहता हूं निश्चल को, हमेशा कहता हूं इनको कि तुम एजुकेशन पे स्पेंड इसलिए करो क्योंकि एक बेटर इन्फॉर्म्ड जो इन्वेस्टर है ही विल स्पेंड मोर देन लेस इन्फॉर्म्ड पर्सन। सिमिलरली एनएफटी स्पेस में जब उसके लिए इंफॉर्मेशन को गैदर करना इजी हो जाएगा एक ट्रेंड को देखते हुए, तो उसको इन्वेस्ट करना भी इजी हो जाएगा। I hope I made a lot of sense, Anuj and Amarnath. I took a little while, but I hope I made sense.
Absolutely. And आपने जो ये प्रोफाइल्स की बात की है ना, that's exactly right, कि जैसे आप यहाँ पे काफी एक इंटरेस्टिंग चीज है वेब 2 और वेब 3 की दुनिया में फर्क है कि एक तो आपका जो प्रोफाइल्स बनती है, आप जैसे आपका फेसबुक प्रोफाइल है उसमें आप इंफॉर्मेशन पूरा देते हो कि भाई आपने कहाँ से पढ़ाई की, आपने क्या चीजें की, एंड देन लाइक आप कौन से कम्युनिटीज के पार्ट हो, एक्सेट्रा, एंड अ लॉट ऑफ दिस इज मैन्युअली फेड। लॉट में मतलब प्रेटी मच एवरीथिंग इज मैन्युअली फेड। दूसरा चीज, आप जो चीजें आप बताते हो कि इंस्टाग्राम में जो आप चीजें बताते हो, एक ये चीज के बारे में भी लोग बात करते हैं कि हाउ द लाइफ दे पोर्ट्रे ऑन इंस्टाग्राम वर्सेस देयर लाइफ एंड द गैप बिटवीन दैट एंड द काइंड ऑफ सोशल इम्पैक्ट्स इट हैज ऑन द ओवरऑल इकोसिस्टम। सो व्हेन इट कम्स टू वेब 3, सबसे पहला चीज ये कि आपका जो वॉलेट है, जैसा अमर बोल रहा था कि आपका जो वॉलेट है वो आपका प्रोफाइल है कि आप, और दूसरी चीज ये है कि हम एज अ ह्यूमन बीइंग हम बहुत सारे चीजें हैं, हम एक चीज नहीं है, राइट? लाइक मैं शायद मैं अपने दोस्तों के साथ एक तरीके से रहता हूँ, मैं अपने डिफरेंट डिफरेंट कॉन्टेक्स्ट में मैं अलग अलग रहता हूँ, एंड वो एक अनोनिमिटी सुडोनिमिटी एस्पेक्ट रहता है वॉलेट्स के अंदर, जहाँ आप मल्टीपल प्रोफाइल्स बना सकते हो अपने आइडेंटिटी, बट आप ये चीज कभी नहीं कर सकते हो कि आप जो करते हो वो दिखता है सबको। सो ये काफी एक इंटरेस्टिंग डायनामिक है जहां से आप जो जैसे यहाँ पे गौरांग है, गौरांग डॉट ईटीएच का जो प्रोफाइल है, वो प्रोफाइल विल मीन समथिंग, मतलब वो उनके शायद उसमें वो अपना एनएफटी ट्रेड करेंगे, जो भी चीजें वो दिखाना चाहते हैं वो सब करेंगे, बट ही माइट हैव 6 अदर वॉलेट्स जो वो बताते नहीं है कि वो उनके वॉलेट्स है, बट यू हैव द फ्रीडम टू डू दैट। एंड जो काफी सारे जो ट्रांजैक्शंस है मैं शायद उसमें रखूंगा। सो बेसिकली व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से इज आपके प्रोफाइल्स जो है बहुत सारे हो सकते हैं, एंड दूसरी चीज है कि आपके, बट आपके जो एक जो प्रोफाइल है जिसके अंदर आप जो भी चीजें करते हो वो सबको दिखता है, एंड दैट फॉर्म्स अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग वे। जब अब यहाँ पे मैं एक डिस्टिंक्शन करना चाहता हूँ कि this is a very social behavior thing. This is not a rule by any means, but this is a social behavior which I have observed and we have validated with multiple conversations कि जैसे there are some assets in Web3 जो लोग दिखाना चाहते हैं खुद से। जैसे मैं कुछ NFT खरीद लिया, मैंने कुछ DAO ज्वाइन किया, मैं किसी बंदे का सोशल टोकन खरीद लिया, मैंने कुछ आर्टिकल लिखा है, मैंने कुछ कंटेंट पब्लिश किया, ये सारी चीजें मैं जाके दुनिया को बताना चाहता हूँ कि भाई मैंने ये चीज कर ली। बट कुछ चीजें हैं मैं जिसे किसी को बताना नहीं चाहता कि मैं कुछ एलपी पेयर में कुछ डाला, मैंने कुछ डीफाई ट्रांजैक्शन किया, मैंने कुछ शायद टोकन्स खरीद के फ्लिप किया, ये सारी चीजें नॉट नेसेसरली आई वुड वांट टू शो ऑफ। सो वी हैव रियलाइज्ड दैट देयर इज समथिंग व्हिच इज इनहेरेंटली सोशल, and this social behavior is by design truthful, right? Now this actual thing forms, now if I look at it from a game theory standpoint, अगर मैं game theory के point of view से देखूं तो invariably people are incentivized to like be truthful even when they go talk on Twitter about this, because their transactions are out in the public. So the social wallets that people have, like the Anuj.eth wallet that I have, I might have through other wallets which I may not even talk about, but the Anuj.eth के अंदर मैं जो चीजें करता हूँ, those I will be very responsible for, and that forms my social identity. That is something which I will curate. And now with that forms a very interesting way of me meeting other people within the community. Like for example, I have Cool Cat in this wallet and I talk to another person in the Cool Cat community, and when he looks at my profile, he knows, okay, I'm interested in rug radio, I'm interested in vibe heads, I'm interested in funk moment as a culture. So these sorts of a thing already start giving him an idea about what my context is. Now just imagine, expand this to 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the line. when your profiles, everyone's profile starts becoming rich, the entry barriers keep reducing, more and more people start having their online on-chain presence validated. The amount of interactions, genuine interactions which are possible out of this that is what is super exciting for us at Paul.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, I was going through your profile, to be honest, and so the moment you
wall पे देखी है.
हाँ, मैंने wall पे देखा. So I was going through your profile, and वहाँ पे Y-Bets था, वहाँ पे Cool Cat था, वहाँ पे और भी बड़े interesting NFTs थी, और वहाँ से ना, जबकि मैं तुम्हें पहले से जानता हूँ, राइट, लेकिन फिर भी तुम्हारी NFTs की कलेक्शन को देख के मैंने तुम्हारी पर्सनालिटी को डिकोड करने की कोशिश करी. मतलब वो परसेप्शन सी बन रही थी मेरी. मैं नहीं चाहता कि वो परसेप्शन बने, बट अनुज की NFTs के कलेक्शन से मेरी एक परसेप्शन बनी थी, और अनुज मुझे इंटरेस्टिंग लग रहा है. नाउ अगर अनुज से मैं बात करता हूं, तो मैं बात, चाहे अनुज को नहीं जानता, चाहे अनुज की प्रोफाइल पिक्चर से मुझे कुछ नहीं पता लग रहा, अनुज के इथेरियम एड्रेस से कुछ पता नहीं लग रहा, लेकिन फिर भी अनुज के पोजीशन से मेटावर्स के अंदर लोग आपस में कम्युनिकेट करेंगे, डिस्कशंस करेंगे, एंड दे विल बी मोर अलाइंड, दे विल बी मोर पॉसिबिलिटीज. एंड पीयर टू पीयर आप NFTs को तब शायद ट्रेड भी कर पाओगे. मतलब इट विल बी पॉसिबल फॉर यू टू कम्युनिकेट विथ ईच अदर इन फ्यूचर इन मेटावर्स, where you'll form relationships as well, based on the your positions. And I think नए लोगों के लिए कितना आसान हो गया कि वॉल पे गए, अपना वॉलेट कनेक्ट किया, एंड देन दे कैन फिगर आउट कि ओके अनुज वहाँ पे कौन सी ऐसी कम्युनिटीज है, क्या डिस्कशंस हो रही हैं, और जो ओजीज है, जो लोग हैं, कौन सी NFTs को बाय कर रहे हैं, सेल कर रहे हैं, इन किसके बारे में डिस्कशंस हो रही हैं, कूल कैट्स कम्युनिटी में क्या हो रहा है. वहाँ पे अलग अलग कम्युनिटीज है. आई विश के ट्विटर स्पेस में काश वो वीडियो होता, और डिस्कॉर्ड के अंदर यू कैन एक्चुअली शो. सो डिस्कॉर्ड को भी आप ज्वाइन कर सकते हो वॉल के. वहाँ पे ऑलरेडी 7-8 हजार मेंबर्स हैं, विच इज़ वेरी सरप्राइजिंग. एंड आई थिंक 7-8 हजार डिस्कॉर्ड में मेंबर्स होना इज क्वाइट अ फिनोमिनल दिस थिंग, बिकॉज वो वही लोग हैं जो NFTs में इंटरेस्टेड हैं, और वहाँ डिस्कॉर्ड में काफी डिस्कशन होती है, और वहाँ पे दे कीप शोइंग दोज लाइव डेमो, बिकॉज आई वाज देयर ऑन दी couple of days back where you actually showed that entire demo version of it. We'll try to do it in a YouTube as well, and we'll try to cover that as well. So Anuj or Amarnath, if I have to ask you this question, कि जैसे अभी हमारा ये लॉन्च हो गया, ठीक है, और अगर अब किसी को कोई मनबीर है या चांदनी है जो मुझे सुन रहे हैं, अगर इनको अभी सपोज NFT बाय करनी है, और ये बिल्कुल नए हैं, दे डोंट नो अबाउट एनीथिंग अबाउट NFT, तो इनको वॉल पे जाने की जरूरत है, या इनको सीधा ही NFT ले लें? इनको वॉल पे जाके क्या फायदा मिलेगा? हाउ यू विल सजेस्ट एनीवन who's actually on a borderline on a border to buy a NFT, तो इनको आप क्या सजेस्ट करो कि वॉल पे क्यों जाए इस वक्त?
Yeah, I'll take a shot at this, right? So at a macro, when we think about it, right? Like back in the day, we had traders, right? Like traders used to open coin market cap. Because that was the time when people used to like flood, but the ecosystem only existed of developers and traders. That's about it. Like because people were either building protocols or people were trading on top of those protocols. That's about it. But now that has changed. Something very phenomenal happened from last 1 year. Now you have users. इससे पहले protocols बन रहे थे, अभी users आ गए, right? Now where do users go to really check out what's happening, right? Like what is the coin market equivalent for these people? इनको जानने के लिए कि Web3 में क्या करना चाहिए, कहाँ जाएंगे ये लोग, और Web3 में लोग आते क्यों हैं यहाँ पे? बिकॉज फंडामेंटली लोग यहाँ आते हैं पैसे कमाने के लिए, इन रिटर्न फॉर फ्यू थिंग्स. दैट इज, या तो लोगों के पास टाइम है, या तो लोगों के पास स्किल है, या तो लोगों के पास पैसा है. इन दोनों के मतलब, और इट्स अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ दीज थ्री थिंग्स, राइट? सो let's say someone is coming into this ecosystem with a certain money, let's say, and they are interested in getting into NFTs. That is a place where they can start exploring Wall at this moment. आगे वाले दिन में we are going to integrate all the rest of the things that we just discussed about, like play to earn, DeFi, DAOs, a lot of activities, everything that is there in the ecosystem. We are going to cover it, especially from an activity standpoint, from a user standpoint. क्योंकि यूजर्स आने हैं अभी, बिकॉज नाउ दिस ईयर एंड द नेक्स्ट ईयर इज द टाइम फॉर मास अडॉप्शन फॉर यूजर्स, राइट? लाइक लोग आने वाले, बहुत लोग आने वाले, एंड if there are no right ट्रेन की पटरी नहीं है उनके लिए तो बहुत दिक्कत हो जाएगा. It's very simple. Like otherwise, it is going to be the same thing that we have seen last time also. It is going to be extremely complicated for people to come on board. It is going to be extremely complicated for people to really understand what is happening because it is going to be extremely jargonized, right? Like there मतलब बहुत सारे words होंगे जो लोगों को मतलब दिक्कत होगा समझने में. We want to break that barrier and hence we have built this. So yes, if someone is really looking to forward to buy an NFT.
Anuj, will you like to continue?
Yes. So I think so मैं बीच में थोड़ा सा lost the track of thought.
No, that's okay. So what we were discussing with Amarnath was that if somebody is looking to buy
right. Yes. So I think सबसे पहले तो आप वॉल पे जाके क्या कर सकते हो, राइट? सबसे पहले आपने अभी तक कोई NFT नहीं खरीदा, कोई सीन नहीं है. आप सबसे पहले जाके यू कैन गो कनेक्ट योर वॉलेट. आप जैसे ही कनेक्ट वॉलेट करोगे यू विल बी एबल टू सी कि आज अभी इस मोमेंट पे लास्ट 1 घंटे में, लास्ट 1 दिन में कौन से NFTs जो टॉप कलेक्टर्स है वो क्या चीजें खरीद रहे हैं. So now that becomes a really interesting way for you to start discovering new stuff, right? कि मैं सबसे पहले जाके अभी जैसे मैंने अभी जस्ट एक अपना प्रोफाइल शेयर किया, मैं यहाँ पे लिंक भी शेयर कर दे रहा हूँ. तो आप ये अगर ट्वीट पे जाओगे और मेरा प्रोफाइल वाले लिंक पे जाओगे तो यू विल बी एबल टू गो सी माई प्रोफाइल एंड वहाँ पे मेरे सारे जो NFTs है वो आप देख सकते हो. मैंने अभी रिसेंटली 2-3 चीज़ें खरीदे, तो आप वो देख सकते हो कि मैं वो क्यों चीज़ें खरीदा हूँ, क्योंकि मैं एक्चुअली वॉल की टेस्टिंग कर रहा था और फिर मैंने कुछ नए काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग चीज़ें मैंने देख ली. लास्ट 3 मेरे NFTs मैंने वॉल देख के खरीदे.
क्या आप सोच रहे हो ये अनुज क्या कह रहा है? आप इस बात को अंदाजा लगा रहे हो यार? मैं आपको कैसे समझाऊं यार? मतलब आप इस बात को सोचो, अनुज क्या खरीद रहा है? अनुज इस स्पेस में इतने समय से है, अमरनाथ इतने समय से है, और ये तो चलो अनुज और अमरनाथ तो चलो NFTs में है ही. यार आप सोचो मैं क्या कह रहा हूं, इस बात की गहराई के अंदर जाने की कोशिश करो. अगर आपको ये पता लग जाए कि सचिन तेंदुलकर कौन सा ग्लव्स खरीद रहा है, आपको ये पता लग जाए कि महेंद्र सिंह धोनी कौन सा कीपिंग ग्लव्स खरीद रहा है, अगर आपको ये पता लग जाए कि जॉन इब्राहिम जो है कौन सी बाइक ले रहा है, ठीक है, और अगर आपको ये पता लग जाए कि कपिल देव जो है वो इतना इस एज में भी इतना फिट क्यों है और वो कौन सा कॉर्नफ्लेक्स खाता है, कौन से सीरियल्स खा रहा है मॉर्निंग में, मतलब आप समझ रहे हो कि अगर आपको ये पता लग जाए कि जो लोग इंडस्ट्री के अंदर लीड कर रहे हैं वो कौन सी NFTs को बाय कर रहे हैं अभी, और जो आपको अभी अर्ली डेज हैं उसके लिए वो एक OG कौन सी NFTs खरीद रहा है, एंड इफ दोस NFTs आर इन दोस अर्ली डेज जो आपके बजट में और आपके पर्सपेक्टिव में आपके हर लिहाज से आपके आपके उसमें फिट बैठ रहा है, तो आपके लिए कितनी आसान हो गई यार जॉब. पहले आपको ये चीज नहीं पता लगती थी. आप ईथर स्कैन में जाओगे, आप कैसे एड्रेस पता करोगे? और मैं आज अनुज की एक बात को बड़ा करता हूं. जैसे अनुज ने बोला कि लोगों के ऐसी बात नहीं, मल्टीपल एड्रेसेस भी होंगे. जैसे anuj.eth है, amarnath.eth है, gurang.eth है. इसके अलावा भी होंगे जहां पे NFTs हो सकती हैं इन लोगों की. लेकिन पता है अनुज और अमरनाथ और गुरांग क्यों फोकस करेंगे अपने इस प्रोफाइल को जो जिसमें वो पब्लिकली चीजों को ट्रेड कर रहे हैं, NFT को ट्रेड कर रहे हैं? क्यों करेंगे मैं आपको आज बता रहा हूं. आज जो प्रोफाइल्स आप बना लोगे और उन प्रोफाइल्स के अंदर जो आप चीजें पोजीशन कर रहे हो, जो आप जिन चीजों को आप ट्रेड कर रहे हो, आप एक जिस तरीके से अपने बिजनेस पे फोकस होके आज ट्विटर पे मैं अपनी इमेज को लेके बड़ा कॉन्शियस रहता हूं. सात्विक हो गया या मनबीर हो गया या चांदनी या कोई भी लोग ट्विटर पे हल्की बात नहीं कर सकते. दे कैन नॉट बी वेरी कैजुअल अबाउट इट. व्हाई? बिकॉज इट हिट्स देयर रेपुटेशन. So you are very particular about your reputation, overall. The similar kind of a reputation you'll try and develop it in Web3 as well. जबकि reputation का फर्क नहीं पड़ता है overall, but फिर भी you as an individual in Web3 people, and when creation of addresses will be very easy for people there will be a lot of noise, masses will enter into it. there are going to be profiles based on their reputation, based on their transaction history, based on how they have traded, based on how well they were in DeFi also, because these similar profiles are going to be used in DeFi sector as well. How were they able to pay their loans or not on time? Were they able to what was their history in DeFi as well? So all these kind of reputation scores built on all these behavioral aspect in Web3 will get collated, will get accumulated in those addresses, और इसके बेसिस पे सोशल पैटर्न्स बनेंगे, सोशल ग्राफ्स बनेंगे, जो एक नए दुनिया को जन्म देंगे, जहां पे आप उस सोशल ग्राफ के बेसिस पे एक नई इकोनॉमीज बनेगी, नई चीजें स्केल अप होंगी फ्यूचर में. अमेजिंग अमेजिंग अमेजिंग. सो अनुज एंड अमरनाथ, मुझे तो बड़ी एक्साइटमेंट है. काफी सारे लोगों के ना यार, टू बी ऑनेस्ट, रिक्वेस्ट आई भी है, एंड आई नीड टू टेक दिस क्वेश्चंस बिकॉज आई कैन नॉट अलाउ यू टू गाइज गो विदाउट taking this question. तो मैं सबसे पहले ना I'll take, if you allow me to, can I start doing that? Can I start?
Yeah, please.
Yes,
okay,
please.
ठीक है. तो I'll take it from, first of all, Anuj. गुरांग से शुरू करते हैं. Yes, so I got dropped off. तो Gurang, are you there? Can you what's your question?
Hey Kashif, thank you for adding me up. Congrats Anuj and Amarnath for launching the Wall.app, right? I've been using the platform since the time it's launched, and बहुत सही है, right? One thing I just wanted to check, when are you integrating ENS domains, right? Wallet address ढूंढ के डालने में दिक्कत हो रही है यार. ENS domains add कर दो so that the search gets easier.
Definitely, that's the immediate next step for us.
Amazing. I mean, also in terms of one thing I just wanted to ask is, will tokens would also be able to track on Wall? I mean, can I see my liquidity pools? Which what kind of liquidity pools people are using? What kind of tokens they are holding, and all of that?
Right now, no, but क्योंकि it sort of is a थिंग जो हम यूजर्स से भी समझना चाहते हैं कि पहले क्या चीज़ है वो देखना चाहते हैं, राइट? क्योंकि दिस इज आवर सेंस, विच वी कुड बी रॉन्ग ऑल्सो, इज दैट टिपिकली जो एलपी टोकन्स ये सब जो फ्रॉम एन ऑडियंस स्टैंड पॉइंट दे वांट टू सी इट, but from a user standpoint they don't necessarily want to show them. So as a user, as a user, what do you think? Would you like someone to kind of see these information?
I mean,
that
as I see, I've been using various products as well, like Zappofy and also Zerion, right? Where everything is visible, everything is linked to your wallet address, and whatever things people are doing, it's all visible. I mean, like so probably it's always good to see what's happening. And again, I have been tracking. I have around 7 to 8 whale wallets which I have on my watch list, and that's where I'm able to track on what they are eating, and not only in terms of NFTs but also in terms of tokens, in terms of what kind of drops they are getting and all of that. So I mean, it would be a quickest, easiest way as well with the Wall. I mean, कि ये सारी चीजें भी integrate हो जाए, तो of course it might be on your roadmap for sure, right? तो आसानी हो जाएगी. I mean,
yeah. So I mean, I'm super curious. I mean, वो बनाना तो easy है because anyways हम लोग transactions तो कर ही रहे हैं. We just didn't put it, just not knowing what the user feedback would be. But it's interesting to hear. That's interesting.
I mean, that's how we started, right? Very firstly, like understanding user, as in me as well. Merko, I started with buying ETH first, not directly buying NFTs, right? So first you get into tokens, and then eventually entering a Web3 space is where you first buy your ETH. First buy ETH, add it to your MetaMask, and then buy your ENS domain, and then you start your journey. I mean, this is how I started my journey. So I guess for the others as well, that's how it should be. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
No, makes sense. I think definitely something to explore. Is I'm just kind of looking at it from a social side of things. What are the activities around which people want to engage? But yeah, I think there can be potentiality for both the things to coexist.
Great. Anuj, you have a question to
Yes,
Anuj and Amarnath?
thanks, Kashif.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question for Anuj. So this is a fantastic job. Like something right now we are just going to marketplace and seeing like who is owning which NFT. So brilliant initiative. But one question is this: are you guys also collaborating with the marketplaces like OpenSea or whether the NFT marketplace from WazirX? Are you collaborating with them as well to getting the data and whoever is collecting the NFT and who are the big creators that you will be listing down on your wall?
Yeah. So I think we are directly taking all this information from on-chain. We've started with indexing Ethereum. So all the transactions on Ethereum, we are directly reading from the chain itself. And then वहाँ से we are using OpenSea's APIs to enrich this data to get metadata, market transaction data, and all of that. And I think I did meet with Suvarna the other time, and then we spoke about this that definitely uh, the idea is to have cross chain and have as much discovery as possible for new people to discover something which is within their budget. At the same time, it is social discovery, right? कि आपके लोग आपके दोस्त क्या खरीद रहे हैं, so that is something which is valid across all chains. We started with Ethereum and we started with NFTs, so we're going to expand from here to other kinds of assets beyond NFTs. Like Gaurang was talking about DeFi, I was talking earlier about DAOs, and then the other thing is to go cross chain into other things like play to earn and NFTs itself in other chains.
Yeah, fair enough. So my second question is on DeFi. So when it comes to DeFi, so we find like a lot of whales are trading into DeFi. So how would you guys identify these wallet addresses? Will you guys be personalizing them?
Yes, that's a very interesting question. In NFTs, it's kind of a little bit easier because there are some of these OG collections which people are part of. But I think in DeFi, that's an interesting problem where the wallets, the whale wallets, would primarily be able to identify based on the transaction volume and how much I think there will be different parameters compared to an NFT wallet for you to segregate that. And then so one is like to bucket these things, and the second thing is the immediate next feature that we're building. So few things maybe I can talk about few of the next features that we're building. One is like ENS, the other is being able to consolidate multiple activities into one thing so that आपको एक consolidated view मिल जाए. Third thing is for us to be able to create like the following of wallets वाला thing कि मैं अपना खुद का मैं एक वॉलेट बकेट बना सकता हूँ कि मैंने 10 वॉलेट लगाया, मैं इन सबको ट्रैक करना चाहता हूँ, मैं उसको एक ग्रुप का नाम दे दूँ और फिर मेरा वो फीड में आ जाए. So that's the next thing we'll be looking at. I think DeFi is something which we still have to kind of consider and think about. It's more of a decision around क्या चीज पे हम फोकस करना चाहते हैं.
Yeah, and also it's all about like privacy also, right? There are a lot of actually protocols that are working on hiding these things also. It's like two sides of the coin, truly speaking, right? Like there are a few DeFi protocols which are making sure these transactions are not visible to everybody, but at the same time, you have the other side of the ecosystem which is trying to show off everything that they are doing by tagging, by putting their ENS name in their Twitter account as well. So it's a really interesting ethos to be there. What we want to go right after this is definitely look at DAO activity and mirror publications. That's the thing that we want to go after this in this same version of the product. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. My last question to you guys. What's the like a motive behind Wall? Are you guys going to be contain yourself to the content and the like putting out the addresses that are holding like whale addresses or the OGs who will be holding the NFTs and investing in DeFi, or are you going to expand your venture further? Thanks.
Yeah. So I think what we are trying to build here is the building blocks for social. So we genuinely feel कि अभी जो आपके जो प्रोफाइल्स जो बन रही है वो प्रोफाइल्स के अराउंड सोशल इंटरेक्शंस चालू हो जाएंगी. And while alpha is great, right? Like मेरे को कुछ चीजें पता चल जाए जल्दी से, वो भी सही है. It also so like if I take a step back and look at the change in, or the the change in narrative overall with crypto, as well as the culture of crypto itself. So largely till now, I think till 2020, maybe 2020, 2019, for you to be part of crypto, either you have to be a developer or a trader in some or the other fashion. आपको full time trader होने की जरूरत नहीं है, but at least आपको speculative mindset तो चाहिए था. Now, as we go into 2022 and beyond, we definitely see a lot of people who not necessarily are traders are going to come into this ecosystem. Just social media users. कि मैं एक क्रिएटर को फॉलो करता हूँ और मैं उस क्रिएटर, जस्ट लाइक मैं एक यूट्यूब चैनल देखता हूँ. जैसे काशिफ का भी मैं यूट्यूब चैनल देख रहा हूँ, मेरे को लग रहा है कि काशिफ 3 साल में बहुत बड़ा होंगे और फिर मेरे को उसके ऊपर बेट लेने की कुछ अपॉर्चुनिटी है. तो ऐसे सारी फिनेंशियल टूल्स आने वाले हैं, which I will discover by my friend Amarnath going and buying Kashif's token and me getting a notification saying कि Kashif का token out है. तो we are looking that this set of new user personas that's gonna come, and these sorts of users जो interactions करने वाले हैं, उनके interactions will be based on the communities that they are part of and their profiles that they form based on chain. So this is the direction that we are primarily going at. Our vision with Wall is to build a Web3 social platform. The profiles and communities are sort of the building blocks for us to get there.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I think you have answered my question. Thank you, guys. All the best.
Thank you, Anuj, for asking the right questions. Thanks a lot, Anuj. That was really quite insightful. Yeah, thank you very much, Anuj. Gopal, now you can ask your question or anything that you want to add. Gopal.
Yes. Hi, Kashif.
Hi.
How are you? Yep. So, Anuj, I would like to know these quick two things about the platform. So, as I'm understanding, it is much like what we call a social trading or a copy trading for the NFTs, right? Am I getting it right?
Yes. Yes.
Cool. So, the next question of mine is, if we are really trying to build something like this, then what will be the what I'm trying to mean is, as you said, we are still looking for the solutions around the DeFi industry, around the DAO or whatever the other trends which you are trying to bring on a wall. So, is there anything which could be helpful for the traders apart from just seeing or just a profile or the big trader? Is there any cool other features of this wall which could give me a hint to go big on it? I'm just an Indian trader, you can say, or just a professional which is working in this industry since 6 years, and I have helped the Web3 application since like 2017. So before the Web3, whatever the buzz has came up, as you know, there was a lot many projects, right? You must be aware about the Steemit or Mithril or the other great Web3 products. So, yep. Is there anything which is making a wall much difference from whatever the buzz or whatever the shit things is happening in this industry?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, and I think two things here. One thing which you spoke about is, as a trader persona, what is the will the platform do a lot for me? And the second thing is, how would it compare to existing sort of Web3 social things that's been there? So for the first question, our really, like, to be honest, our real focus around the user persona is not necessarily so much around the trader. We feel like for traders, there are much more specialized data analytics based tools, and you are used to looking at charts, and you are used to kind of having what Wall is going to do is give you that first inkling of this could be potentially something, right? It is not necessarily taking you to the full journey of telling you about timing and what's the best time to get in, even though you'll know this information at the earliest. Having said that, then what sort of what would people like you who have been into the ecosystem and trading can get out of the platform is to be able to create your own set of wallet buckets that you could be monitoring, right? And like DeFi is something which we haven't really looked at so far, but if there is a lot of user interest, we would definitely can pull, like, can flip that switch and can get that on. That's not a problem from a technical implementation standpoint. So but if I have to purely talk about the assets that we are focusing on right now as NFTs and DAOs and social tokens, now you can create some wallet buckets and kind of get updates from there, real-time updates and notifications. The other thing we are also looking at, now coming to second part of the question, which is about like how is it different from, let's say, a Steemit. I think first and foremost, it's I feel like timing plays a very, very important role in these sorts of things, especially social platforms. Because when Steemit has done, and then like, even though it kind of picked a lot of momentum, there was some fundament, and the second part is also the token dynamics and the internal gamification for enabling interactions on the platform. Steemit largely suffered because of the token design, and it didn't, and also the timing was also something which was super important. We definitely see a lot more people coming into this space right now. And once now just imagine when we have all these sorts of people who are interested to buy in the space aggregating at this one place, getting the other side of the marketplaces, or getting the other side of featured stuff and all of that is going to be pretty easy. So so yeah, Web3 social with interest based on their own individual profiles, and then being able to create value for the users to just use the platform. That is basically our phase one, is to build a solid product which solves one specific, like, good set of use cases for a user. And then the second phase of social aspect that we get into is being able to create value for the user to be just using that platform. And that is why we've kind of also announced in our Discord, on our Twitter, is that early users will be definitely be benefited from being early to the platform. That's been the trend of anything that has blown up really in the space.
So is it like rewarding to the user directly, or it will be the token based? And I probably, I'm guessing it's Ethereum based, right? So what I'm trying to
Yeah,
understand
it's
with the
too early for us to kind of say anything around that, but yeah, that's the direction. Definitely, that's in the direction you're thinking.
okay, cool, understood. And what will be the tokenomics for the wall?
Yeah, right now we're not really talking about token at all, honestly. But what we are though doing is basically giving certain tags to people within our Discord community, and issuing certain POAPs for people attending our community calls, and kind of having a track record of who have been the early adopters.
यार ये एक्चुअली मेरा क्वेश्चन था, ये गोपाल ने पहले पूछ लिया. सो दिस क्वेश्चन I wanted to ask this question. So what happens, today we have been seeing that projects, whenever the projects they get launched, their first objective is to get their tokens in the market. And those who are listening to me right now, and I'm not against them, that people who are willing to launch their token first and then talk about their project later. But I think this is one project who's trying to, first of all, solve a problem. There is definitely an issue. There's definitely people are struggling to find the right NFTs. And if you want NFTs to go mainstream, if you want users to have a very simplified kind of an experience before buying an NFT, if Wall is trying to solve that, I mean, they're just trying to build something very organic, something very fundamental. And then they are thinking of, okay, fine, let's figure out token, or if there is a need of token at all.
I really loved that, Kashif. Like,
Yeah.
what is the vision?
And Gopal, you are here in this industry since 2016. I am also there since 2016, November, in fact. And I've seen that ICOs era, I've seen that IEO era, then I saw that IDO era. All these kind of different eras we have seen, and where projects have first of all tried to shill their tokens designed the tokenomics where it has considerably favored the founders and the venture capitalist. And today we are seeing a project here right in front of our eyes where they're trying to build a solid project first. They're trying to build a solid fundamental project that is trying to solve a real problem, and then figure out, okay, if there is a need of a token at all in future, maybe 6 months down the line or 1 year down the line, based on the traction. Anuj, I liked your last line where you said that you'll definitely will like to incentivize people who have shown trust, a little earlier, and you'll try and reward them maybe in future. So, but your whole focus right now is to build that product right now. So, thank you very much. I'm glad that Nikhil Chinnappa is listening to us in this Twitter space. I mean, he's so excited about it that he had a flight at 1:30, I guess, and he was not able to participate in this space. And he said that the moment he'll land, he'll definitely be joining this session. So welcome, Nikhil. If you are willing to speak, you can send me a request. Otherwise, that's okay. I'm happy seeing you as a listener there. But Nikhil is really looking forward to Wall. So Anuj and Amarnath, there is some issue at Amarnath's end for connectivity, which is trying to figure out. So many a times so Nikhil has requested me, so that's a great thing.
Meanwhile, Anuj, could you please even again explain the whatever the early users is going to adopt this product and how much reward ratio will be for them, or any other early rewards like just having an entry, just having any tag on Discord, or just having any team rotation on a Discord? Is there anything like for the early users? The second thing and the last question from my side is I'm really happy to see the new development from the country, right? From whatever the great development has India has been doing. I'm pretty fed up with whatever the side coins or side chains are building with the since L1 has been introduced to us. Yeah, so that was my last question. Hi Nikhil, hi Kashif, it's great to talk.
Thanks for that question, Gopal. Honestly, like right now we are just giving out. So we had our first community call 2 days before, and then we had about 1,000+ people turn up for that event, which was a super surprise for me too. And we have given out, like we are giving out PO apps to them, and then there are certain Discord tags that we are giving for people who are participating earlier on. Right now, with regards to the rewards and everything, like as when the token sort of comes into picture for us, that's when we'll be looking at giving these drops and things like that. But right now, we really don't have any solid answer around that question. But yeah, thanks for that question.
Thanks. So Nikhil is here. So Nikhil Chinnappa. So welcome you in this Twitter space, and I'm glad that you took out some time. And if there is something in your mind, please. Now this space belongs to you.
Hey, thanks, Kashif. Thanks for the welcome. Like you mentioned, I was just getting onto a flight. I just landed from Goa to Mumbai, and as soon as I landed, I turned on Twitter Spaces to just catch the last end of this conversation. I'm just very curious to see and to know what Wall.app is doing in this space. And I'm hoping you guys have recorded this Twitter Space so I can catch up more about it. There was just one comment that I have based on what I heard towards the end, is that I heard the founders saying that they wanted to try and incentivize early adopters, early supporters, that this is an app that is trying to solve a real world problem, and they're not interested in tokenomics, and they're interested in building a solid app first. I mean, for me as a layperson, and this is no disrespect to anyone, I'm just going to give you a layperson's opinion on this. There are too many tries in those comments. And I think that when you're trying to convert, and this is a particular pain point for me, that when we're talking about Web3, and we discussed this in the last time we had a Twitter Spaces, Kashif, is that there's too much conversation happening around echo chambers, where it's people who are in the know talking to other people who are in the know, and people who aren't in the know have no way of breaking through and understanding and adopting all the wonderful work that's happening in Web3. So the only thing that I would request for founders who are starting on new projects, exciting projects that are solving real-world problems with real-world use case scenarios, is to bring more clarity into what you're doing, So it becomes easier for people like me, very clearly, who have some understanding, but not a tremendous amount of understanding in the space. It becomes easier for us to figure out what's going on, understand it, and embrace it. So that's the only thing that I wanted to add in this bit. But otherwise, I'm looking forward to listening to the entire chat. And I understand that because I haven't heard the entire chat, I may be slightly hampered by not being aware of what's already being discussed.
No, absolutely, Nikhil. I think what you brought out is a very important point of how these things can get an echo chamber effect, and that's something which we basically, I think, we spoke to you when we were like really starting out, when we were kind of looking at what are different directions that we could be taking, and even Dheeraj here has been one of our people who have really given us critical feedback in the direction that we're looking at. So now that a lot of people more have joined, I'll kind of give a quick intro to what is Wall doing, and then I think that will sort of give some context to. So Wall.app is a platform where you can go and discover what's happening right now in the NFT world. So you go and first thing what you'd see is there is a selection where you can select. There are 22 collections that we have curated. All of these are top NFT communities. And when you select a specific set of a collection, what then happens is basically we look at the wallets that belong to these 22 top 22 communities. These include Cool Cats, CryptoPunks, Board Ape Art Clubs, World of Women, FWB, Bankless DAO, and things like that. So what then would happen is you would see a feed of activity of the wallets which belong to these communities and what are the new NFTs that they are buying right now. So this is chronology time-based activity feed, which is directly watching the chain activity and putting out an information for people to see what's the latest trending activity that's happening within these communities. And the second thing that you will also be able to see is profiles of people who belong to these communities. So there you will be able to kind of like, let's say I select a Board Ape Art Club community. I'm seeing like a few featured profiles of within that community who have been the top collectors in there, and then I can go and see a full of their collection. So and right now it is a place where someone who is just kind of getting into the space or already in the space and looking for some sort of alpha and want to know what are potentially the projects that I could start my research with. It's a great place to start with. And I think, yes, in fact, you did come at that point where some of the things which we were not talking about were being spoken about. So yeah, hope that gives some clarity. And then there are a couple of shared tweets on the top where you can kind of just click and see through your profiles. Now, every Ethereum wallet, like any Ethereum wallet address, you can go and search on Wall and you'll be able to see their collection. And you can browse through their full collection on Ethereum. We have started with Ethereum only. Then we will be looking at the next things we are looking at is expanding to activities beyond NFTs like DAO activities, where then again, so the idea is social discovery, where people within the ecosystem who have been OGs in the ecosystem, they kind of help you discover by just purely what they're doing. It's no user generated content, no bullshit around I'm shilling my own projects and things like that. You're just looking at where they're putting their money and getting an insight from there.
I just want to say appreciate the synopsis, guys, and again apologies for coming in late.
No, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. What I'll do, Nikhil, I'll send you a link. I'll put it on a YouTube and a Spotify as well, and you can listen to the entire conversation at your convenience.
Thank you very much. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Nikhil. Thanks. And Dheeraj, Dheeraj. So.
Yeah, Kashif can I have one word with the Nikhil ji? Nikhil, I'm like a great fan to you in the terms of music. When the whatever you have did with just revolutionizing the earlier music industry or just a concert industry in India, and I knew you are like since long. I have been reading about you. Like I have joined this space in a 15, but like I'm reading you since like I guess 3 years. So you are that old, sir? Like in this industry?
Sorry, I missed that. Could you just repeat that question, please?
Like how old are you in a crypto industry, sir?
I got into crypto in 2017, 2018, but it was just FOMOing in during Bitcoin's last bull run, and I didn't really pay much attention to it till I think maybe over a year and a half ago when I started to understand a little more about what was going on. And then when I started to realize there was a lot more to crypto than just Bitcoin was when I started to really travel down the rabbit hole and get more and more drawn into all the different development that's happening in Web3. So now my interest is not so much in trading and in coins and tokens. It's more about the development of Web3 and all the different apps and solutions that are being worked on by different founders and different projects across the world. That's where my fascination lies.
Yes, like
And
I have
I
been
really,
joining.
I really, I really appreciate that, the way Nikhil has been supporting a lot of Indian startups, and especially, those startups who are trying to build something in this space. Nikhil has been a great supporter of EPNS as well. We have seen, he has been supporting Harsh and Richa, and he's been supporting, Polygon as well. And he's, very curious about Wall as well. I mean, his tweet that, he really wanted to attend this space from the beginning, but because of this flight issue, he couldn't do that. But that just shows the level of excitement Nikhil has towards the future of Web3 and the projects that are coming in it. And I'm so glad that it's for the first time that me and Nikhil are there in this space, and Nikhil has for the first time come to my space. Thank you very much, Nikhil. I think we'll have a separate session where we'll try and figure out, we'll just have a chit chat and a normal casual conversation, and we'll get into your past, how you got into it and what's been your journey. That'll be a great thing for all the newcomers and people who are a huge fan of your work, and who've been following you for so long now. So I think that'll be a great thing if you can just allow in future your time, and then we can figure out a space in future. Right. So I have Dheeraj. Dheeraj, will you like to add something and ask maybe something from Anuj or Amarnath?
Hi, Kashif.
I think I'll just lay some background for Dheeraj and like the context in which we kind of spoke to Dheeraj too. Maybe Dheeraj would basically, when we were starting to build it out, and what we wanted to really figure out is what are the problems that exist, and what are the things that we want to be solving for. And that's where Dheeraj really helped us hone down on the problem himself, being an NFT collector, and kind of help me become a degen collector myself. So thanks for that. Thanks for getting us started.
One thing I really like about Dheeraj is people who don't know Dheeraj. So I mean, Dheeraj, I know him for the past 2 years, and he's been one guy who's been very approachable, very friendly, and if you have something in your mind, and even if you don't know Dheeraj, and you just DM him, and he'll get back to you with all the answers. He's quite active on Twitter, and the most important part is that he's those early, I'll say, one of those early guys who was actually into NFTs, who was talking about it, who was buying it. And even in spite of the fact that he entered into NFT space when he was really not sure that what he's doing, but he wanted to get with the flow. And I think today, whenever you talk about NFTs, it starts from Dheeraj, and I think Dheeraj has got that positioning for himself. He recently held an event as well in Mumbai, where I think Kunal Kapoor was also there, and there was a lot of discussion that happened in NFT space in Mumbai. I couldn't be a part of that, but one thing Dheeraj always says, that if you really want to understand NFTs,
I think Kashif might be disconnected or something.
Yeah. Hi, Dheeraj, GM. What have you been looking at these recently? What have you been looking at recently? And did you get any of those insights from using the application? Yes, Kashif.
Yeah, so Dheeraj हमेशा एक बात ये बोलता है that if you really want to understand NFTs, first you have to buy NFTs. You can't understand NFTs without buying it. So Dheeraj always says that. Dheeraj is always of a believer that you can't. It's like you cannot understand Bitcoin without buying Bitcoin, or you cannot understand crypto without buying crypto. Similarly, you cannot understand NFT. You have to put in skin in the game to actually understand NFTs, and that I really like about Dheeraj. And I think Anuj and Amarnath were very kala about Dheeraj and how he really helped them in those early initial discussions and how he, kind of gave them a direction where they can really get into this space. So Dheeraj, welcome, and Anuj talks really high about you. Okay, Dheeraj got dropped.
Connecting.
Dheeraj got dropped. No problem. So Manisha is there. Manisha, will you like to ask your question, Manisha?
Yes. So Anuj and Amarnath, I want to understand. All this time, it was more about like collector's point of view, right? How the world's gonna help. I want to understand from the creator's point of view. What all features you have for the creator?
Yeah. Thanks for that question. I think first and foremost here, right now what we built is a discovery platform, which is based on-chain transactions, right? So anything that is actually getting, firstly, it's not a marketplace, right? It's an intermediary step before the marketplace where people are kind of coming and having social discovery essentially. So from that standpoint of things, basically, for example, if your collection is something which is being bought out by within these communities, that will show up on the feed. The second thing is for you to then as and when we grow in and more sort of users start using our platform, one thing in the macro that we have realized is there's a lot of interest from the supply side of things. In fact, there is like oversupply of creators wanting to put out their stuff, and they have that sort of value and have the abilities, but it's just that from a buyer standpoint, we figured there are few problems that needs to be solved for the buyers to congregate, and once the buyers are sort of there, then we will be looking at featuring some things and things of that nature. But right now, from a purely from a creator standpoint, it's not a marketplace, so there is no aspect of listing and things like that.
All right. In that case, how exactly are you curating the projects that have been listed already?
So we are not really okay. So maybe I'll take a step back and just describe what the platform does, and it will be great if you all are in front of computer, can just go to Wall.app, and you can go on to Alpha. You can connect your wallet. You'll be able to see that there are these communities that some of the top NFT collections and the wallets that belong to these collections, and what is the activity that they are doing. So we are not really manually creating, we're not really putting our judgment on top of it, what is good and what is bad. We're just showcasing what is happening. And the matter of fact is, this is already there out there on chain. It's just that it's there on an Etherscan or within.
Right.
It's happening on chain and it's not yet visible for consuming for users. So what we have done is we are reading these on chain transactions, enriching that data, and making it a consumable feed for anyone to kind of look at that.
Right. When you talk about community, where exactly are you managing your community members? Like, are you on Discord?
Yes.
Yes.
We are available on Discord. We also have a lot of updates that we'll be posting on Twitter. So Discord is like the best place for you to join and follow the community, and Twitter as well for updates.
All right. So the Discord community mostly it revolves around the people you ask to join. So it kind of becomes centralized, don't you think? Because you don't have what I understood so far is like you don't have any tokens associated with it or a DAO in place where you have a voting system which is completely decentralized, right? So it's like you talk to Anuj or you talk to Kashif or you bring in Nikhil or you bring in Dheeraj and you just form the community that way, right? That's not like really decentralized. It's more like network marketing kind of thing.
So we believe in the fundamentals of progressive decentralization. We feel like right away when you start a product straight from 0 to 1, if people are building via decentralization, it has a lot of user onboarding problems. So we want to make sure whatever we are building is easily accessible for people, and slowly we want to go towards decentralization. By default, we understand what are the perks of it. We are going towards like a DAO. We are already functioning like a DAO internally as an organization. So yeah, I mean, as a communication layer also, we are building like the comments, like, share, all of these things that are going to be like primitive social features. We are going to make sure like all these are also built on a decentralized stack. So we are not attacking the decentralized part of the problem day zero. We want to attack it probably a little down the line, but we are going in that direction.
And having, just to add to one point there, like basically from even from a backend infrastructure standpoint right now, like what we are really doing is for all practical purposes, we are actually running an Ethereum node, and we are kind of getting all these on-chain transactions and enriching them, right? So we basically, all this information that you're seeing is not in fact, like a marketplace would be much more centralized than what we're building. Let me put it that way. Yeah.
But still, it's more like a Web2 approach for Web3.
It's actually a database for on-chain transactions, and then even the communication layer, like Amar was talking about, that we are right now on the platform. There is no interactions. There's no like. There's no comment. All of that, because we are looking to have all of that being stored in a decentralized way, and that's the reason we didn't launch it for the alpha.
All right. Anyway, good luck with your project, and thank you, Kashif.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Manisha. I think the questions were quite well, and I think they're quite insightful as well. I have a question to Nikhil. Nikhil, if Nikhil is listening to. All right. Amarnath is trying to rejoin again.
Anuj is there. Call up Dheeraj if he's around.
Yeah, Dheeraj is trying to. Acha, Dheeraj got dropped. I'll get back. Invite Dheeraj. हाँ धीरज, अरे यार धीरज तुम कहाँ चले गए यार? I was missing.
3 बार डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया. ठीक है. First of all, thank you for such a lovely introduction. I am ये recording का मैं copy करके अपने bio में डाल दूंगा next time someone asks. But it's anyway, मतलब I think थोड़ा बहुत like yeah, I'm just like an enthusiast of NFT or Web3, and like, you know, all the things we are building on top of the blockchain and like, you know, so stuff like that. Anyway, so yes, I'm quite excited to be here, quite excited to see these guys launch the alpha. And I don't have a question per se, but like I'm so happy that like
I think Dheeraj got dropped off. Right. So I'll give an opportunity to Govind. He has been waiting for an hour to ask a question from you. I'll just wait.
Spaces has been bugging from the last 1 hour. I also dropped like a few times.
Yeah, I know. It's like that. So after an hour, I don't know what happens to Spaces. It's been quite buggy.
Govind is here. He's raising his hand.
I think Govind is here. We can.
Govind, you can ask your question. Govind?
Yeah, I'll go. Thank you so much, Kashif. Brilliant space, and congratulations, Anuj and Amarnath, for creating this product and starting and joining the revolution of Web3 in India. I'm super happy because I'm also an NFT collector and I run a game development company myself. Now, I have a basic question that, when we talk about NFTs and, when we used to talk about Web2, there was a basic problem that, every data that was, ours was being monetized on, right? And that was the basic problem. These platforms would run ads and everything. Now, some of my friends that already, and I don't have a .eth domain. I have not bought it because it's very easy to check that .eth domain and see what I'm owning, what I'm not, and just check my, interests also. So sometimes I want to be, I want to have that privacy. So how do you guys manage that? Because everything will be out in the public, and sometimes I don't like it as an individual.
Right. No, it makes sense, right? Like, so what, as a platform, what we're saying is come connect your wallet and see what's happening, right? Let's say, so in general, the ethos has people have multiple wallets in this ecosystem, right? Like I know personally everyone on this space or anyone who has been actually buying, selling holding crypto has more than one wallet. So in that case, you just don't connect the wallet that you have to the platform, or like, and we essentially are not even taking any data, right? Like we are only like in the process at this point, at least we are only in the process of showing what's there and what's not. That's about it. So if you choose to like really don't want to like expose all your activity, then it's as simple as that, right? Like just probably like keep your high valued NFTs in like multiple wallets, like everyone does. These are like best practices that people follow. I myself follow a few of these. So it is quite straightforward that you don't need to show everything, but unfortunately or fortunately, the ecosystem doesn't prescribe to that. Like even if you say, let's say for example, you have a crypto punk and you don't want to show what you are doing, so you basically put that crypto punk in another cold wallet. But that crypto punk is in that cold wallet is known by everybody because it's on Etherscan or it's on the blockchain. Like you can figure it out. So there are ways for you to hide your way through, like I just mentioned, or there are ways for you to like really show off and be loud and tell the world that I have something like this. So it's a very similar behavior in DeFi also, right? Like DeFi people wouldn't want to expose most of their activities, but on the other hand, you have NFT people who I like to say, like the day someone buys an NFT, they're the loudest people on internet by default. And that is just how these asset classes function. So I look at one as financial asset classes, which are like your most DeFi activities that happen, and the other are like social asset classes where when you join a DAO, you're telling publicly on Twitter that I joined a DAO. When you buy an NFT, you're telling publicly that I have purchased an NFT. So these by default have like social behaviors. These assets have like social behaviors inbuilt in them. But if you wish to like hide them, you just have to move it to another wallet and don't show your activity of that particular NFT. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. Can I ask you a follow-up question? This is regarding the roadmap. So what does the roadmap look for you? Like what comes in 6 months, 18 months, or 24 months from now?
Good question, right? So right away, what we're looking at in the next versions are to be able to have primitive social features like comment, like, and all. So right away, we're going to integrate ENS, have these social features. As a next step, what we're going to do is these social features, we want to build it on a decentralized stack. Like we don't want them to be stored on a MongoDB or any centralized databases. We want to use a decentralized stack. Maybe use Ceramic. We'll be using like one of these already existing stack. We don't need to build everything at this point. So followed by that, what we will be doing is very interesting. Like we are looking at really building out social graphs for people. So what social graphs enable us to do is a level of personalization, and that's one thing we are very, very excited about. So it's basically enriching data for an individual's identity. Now what happens because of that is someone else will be monetizing on top of it. Some application will be using this social graph data, and they'll be using this to serve applications. Now, because some other application is using your data, you will be paid for it. So these are like a little deeper concepts that we want to go like 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 1 year down the line. But these are the directions that we are looking at. Some other very interesting things also. Anuj, you want to add something to that?
Yeah. So immediately we are expanding. Firstly, what you're seeing is NFT activity, and what we've said is we should discover Web3. So the next thing that we're looking at it is having other asset-based discoveries. DAOs is something which is super interesting for us because we see there is also a lot of opportunity for people who are getting into kind of just know which are the organizations that they could be part of. Then it's the next thing is being able to have interactions between sort of community members. So these are the two immediate things that we're looking at, and like Amar said, we want to do that interactions in a way where eventually the user is being, so our end goal for us is be able to build a platform where the interactions and the any time that the user is spending on the platform will eventually translate into value creation for the user as it should have been in a Web2 social platform.
Thank you, Anuj and Amarnath. So Kashif,
thanks a lot, Gomit.
Yeah, so I have a few questions, but I'll not go now. So I'll wait in case time is there at the end of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, Shilika, I hope I pronounced your name right.
It's right. Hi, Kashif. Hi, Amarnath. Hi, Anuj. Hi, everyone here. So basically, I just kind of hopped onto this space and I saw that you guys are building something very interesting. I did actually go onto your website also and found that it's pretty interesting. So, in case if there is some sort of API requirement or anything that you would need help on from the CoinMarketCap side, please feel free to reach out. I would love to support you guys in any way that we can. So I lead partnerships in BD at CoinMarketCap, and we're always on hunt to work with new and interesting projects that are trying to bring crypto adoption. So anything that we can do on that front would be happy to associate.
That's awesome. I'll definitely get in touch with you, and I think
I'm connected with you on LinkedIn, so I'll probably reach out to you there.
Also, do you are you gonna have a mechanism where people can track portfolios also?
Yeah, 100%.
Is that something?
100%. We're looking towards that too.
Perfect. So I think our APIs can be pretty helpful, and we've just launched a API sponsorship program. So I think it would be interesting for you to have a look at that.
Awesome. I'm gonna DM you on LinkedIn and let's take this conversation forward. Thank you so much, Shilika.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Thank you very much, Shilika. I mean, this is the beauty of Twitter Spaces, where you find people, and so new collaborations and new types that happen real time. I mean, this is the beauty of internet. This is the beauty of decentralized platforms.
Yeah. So thank you very much. I'll also request Sid Code to come up. So Sid Code has been a good friend and a contributor as well to the platform. We have Rahul also. Rahul is an ape. Always, the doors are always open for apes. So please,
Rahul. I'm not able to just give me some time. Sure.
Finally, Dheeraj is also connected.
Yes,
Dheeraj. अरे धीरज तुम यार
अभी are you guys all on iPhone? Like, just quick question.
Yeah. No, I'm not. Yeah? That's why I'm like dropping very far, like often.
Amar is dropping. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I think like the Twitter, as far as I know, it's highly optimized for iPhone, but Android के लिए लगा देते. And
I think
I've been
the ones
dropping
that
so
are
hard,
on iPhone
man.
are not dropping off.
Yeah.
The ones that are on iPhone are dropping off.
This is like Gabe. This is like one insight I'll take away from this Twitter space.
Yeah. No. My friend works at Twitter, and like I'm trying to follow the Twitter this thing. What do you say? What they do with product and everything they launch on iOS first. It's not even funny. Anyway, here we are. Whatever little time I have, I will. So thank you for inviting me to the space. And just to be very honest, guys, I love what you're doing and the potential of this. Like what Wall is doing is going to be humongous because like we've seen, right? Like this is not just a India only product. This is a Web3 global product. You don't have to be from any particular region to use this. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people have been wanting to consolidate जो हो रहा है Web3 में into one place, right? Because क्योंकि अभी हम लोग Discord पे जाते हैं, कभी हम लोग Twitter पे जाते हैं to keep seeing कि क्या हो रहा है यार projects के साथ, क्या हो रहा है NFTs के साथ. Like, if you just miss out on like one tweet, even when you were on Twitter, you kind of lose out on alpha that like, let's say, I don't know, right? Like Gorang bought 50 bored apes for some reason, right? Like, and you were on Twitter, but you tend to miss out on that tweet. But like, if you can aggregate it, if you can show it on your platform, or you can give relevant information about like these NFT projects or these DAOs, it's going to be quite something, right? Like, so that's what I am super excited about. But like I want you guys to tell me like top 3 things you're looking forward for at this alpha release. So Anuj, Amar, if you can tell me that.
Yeah, I think first and foremost is just for people to open the app and see what it is about. And would love to kind of get some feedback on what are the things that they are looking for, what are the things they like and they don't like. Firstly, this is a private alpha release, even though we've had um, about I don't know 5,000, 6,000 plus whitelist. A lot of them are from Hong Kong, from Singapore, from US, and I think India. Actually, Indian people within that community is like below 10%, I believe, right now in the community. Yes, to your point, it is definitely a global product that we're trying to build here, and would love for uh, people who are in this space to go just open Wall.app. The user flow from there is pretty simple. All you need to do is connect your wallet, and then if you're whitelisted, you'll be able to directly log in. If you're not whitelisted, there is a flow that's an automated flow where you can join the Discord and get whitelisted. The main thing is for us to be able to establish a communication channel to get some feedback. And this is the first version that we've built. It's by no means the final version, and we have kind of not even hard pushed it or did any sort of major marketing around it, because we feel like we just want to get started with that initial community and figure out and build a more holistic product and kind of take it more on full on with everyone. So would love for you all to just try it out and give some feedback. I think that's the thing that I would like from you all. The second thing, and the last thing which I would like from you all is to, if you like how your profiles look, or if you like a specific activity which you think is a potentially an alpha, please do share that on Twitter and tag us, and let us know that, like I was just mentioning at the start of the call, and I've tagged my profile in the top, the last three NFTs that I bought, the nouns, I think Punk Noun and like Drug Radio, and one more thing which I'm seeing there. Like these three, I've pretty much bought it from looking at the feed, not to shill here, but purely I thought were like good NFT buys. And these are some of the things that I discovered there. So would love for you all, if you find something really interesting which you think is a potentially a good project to go into, and if you are not able to go into, would be great if you can share that on Twitter and tag us. So yeah, that's pretty much what I like. I'm excited for you all to just try out the product.
Right, amazing. Sitcode, now you have the speakers, right? You can ask your question here.
Yeah, I mean, it's less of a question and more of an appreciation for both you, Kashif, for bringing everything in context and explaining everything in such simple terms in all the spaces you are on. And also to Anuj and Amar for being these global co-founders who have had the pleasure of working with. And yeah, you guys all are seeing the alpha release now, and we are already strategizing for what the next release will look like. And yeah, to all the people here, I'll try my best to explain in very simple terms. Like, just imagine if Facebook, Twitter, and all the social platforms that you already have combine their infrastructure, and then you could use them together. What would that look like? And that's what we are trying to build at Wall. So yeah, I mean, lots of things are happening across of crypto. Like, it's almost a full job for someone like me to track things happening in DeFi, DAOs, NFTs, and so on. And we are stuck in these tribes. Like, all of us have our tribalistic chains. Like, our favorite chain is Ethereum or Solana or Avalanche or whatever. And even within them, we have our favorite applications, which we are stuck in just because we don't have more context or the community to understand what other people are doing. So yeah, the secret sauce of all these Web2 companies like Twitter is their graph. Like, Facebook's secret sauce is the social graph that they built. Google's secret sauce is the knowledge graph that they built. And the way Twitter is showing us who to follow and what posts you see is all based on that graph. And the beauty of the blockchain is that that graph is publicly accessible, but nobody has done that hard work of bringing it together in a nice user experience and enriching it. So I think Wall will really break down all the walls we have in crypto today in the form of tribes that we have, and I'm really looking forward to building this with Wall.
I think that's an excellent explanation, such as how simply you were able to explain what Wall does, and they'll be able to break the walls. I mean, amazing.
Some context also. Basically, we've met Sid in Kernel. Kernel is a Web3 a guild where we actually had an eight weeks of course and introduction into Web3, both from an historic viewpoint of what Web3 ethos is about, as well as the technical aspects of how to go about building different aspects in Web3. So we met Sid Code there, and we had some great conversations. And from these conversations, we started taking interest and kind of supporting us and helping us in various things. And guys, I think there was, I think one of the guys, I forgot her name, but she asked this question that about centralization versus decentralization, right? Like, I think often things get lost when we look at it at the most surface level, where we're trying to see that we're trying to pass a quick judgment on whether one thing is centralized or decentralized, and kind of come to a value judgment based on that. But I think what is and anyone who's kind of made their hands dirty, written code, and understand the technical aspects of these things, a DAO or a decentralized storage system, like all the fundamental building blocks of Web3, is something which is at a very, very nascent stage. And there is always a trade-off between a Web2 experience versus a Web3 ethos. And one thing which we have definitely learned by being a participant in the kernel program is to imbibe that mindset of trying to build in the right ethos. So we are definitely committed to that ethos. And there are some things which you will have to do to have a better user experience in a centralized way to get started with, while we are figuring out what are the things that we can start sort of having the user have control. And one thing which I will say now and will stand by is that at the end of this project, whenever that might be, what I would like to really see is that this becomes a platform where the users are at the center of value creation and value capture. So that is something which is our intent. And how do we sort of enable that? How do we raise that? That's a journey we have to yet figure out. But we are committed to that path.
Thanks a lot for that, for Anuj. I think we'll take only the last question last request is there. It's from Vinay. Let me just take that. Vinay?
Yeah, so I was just listening into this conversation, and I have a question in mind, like about Web3 and the path in the future, right? So I thought I would like to ask that. So as far as I understand, in Web2, what we really saw is like the big data centralization, and where companies or entities like Facebook and Google really controlled user data, right? And it was the marketing aspect which really got into the picture, and these entities were making money out of our data. So that was the business model which we have all seen, right? So the next question would be, like, where we are heading towards Web3, what is the data model? What is the business model there? Because we are giving away the user data control to him, right? And I really don't understand what would be the future business model which would really, I understand there's a AI aspect to it, but I'm really not getting the business model. So if anybody on the room has some kind of a long-term view on this particular aspect, I would love to hear that.
Yeah, that's a great question, Vinay. Thank you so much for that. I think first and foremost, when you look at why Facebook had to do what it had to do with the way the company itself is structured, right? Like they are incentivized to accrue the value in the IPs of the company. And then kind of their business model would primarily come from revenue, that is ad revenue, which incentivizes them to push information more towards the user. And that is where I think my previous point, which was talking about giving the user the value, comes into picture, where we want to do the value accrual happen in the token. And token invariably in the mid to long term plays a big role in the overall ecosystem. The reason I didn't want to talk so much about token is because the moment I start talking about token, people are just interested in what are the rewards that and what the reward mechanism is, and that's not necessarily something which is immediate, or even that needs to be the focus from our standpoint in the narrative viewpoint also right now. Having said,
sorry to interrupt you there. So
yes.
Token becomes more or less like a stock, right? So a company goes public and they have a stock, and that becomes a token, right? That is not my question. So I'm trying to understand, like, how does the business really make model? So you're a Web3 company now, right? So what's the business model you guys have? How do you guys generate the revenue?
Yeah. So I think first and foremost, like if you have looked at sort of all sorts of Web3 projects, a lot of the value creation that happens is actually through the token itself, right? Like when a certain amount of community rallies around it, and value of the token appreciates by the community as well as the utility of that token. So like if I have to give like a few examples of how the token utility could be on the platform, although we are a little bit early to even talk about this, but to give an insight into how we are thinking about this. So for example, let's say you come onto Wall. There is certain interactions and communication that you're doing with your friends on Wall. Now this information, the interaction communication information, is stored in a decentralized storage network. By that, what I mean is essentially a node network in which multiple nodes are hosting this information. And then for hosting of these nodes and information, people are essentially, there is a whole token economic design around that storage of data. And whenever other applications are querying for this data, they're essentially staking Wall tokens to get access to that data pool. From that, the user keeps getting rewards. So this is one of the ways in which basically the more I am kind of giving this user generated content, and now in a typical in a Facebook versus a Wall context, Facebook is trying to take all this information, show him relevant ads, get the maximum ad revenue from there, and keep it there. Now here what we are doing is we are aggregating this information, doing this analytics, and serving this to other applications which wants to do targeted any sorts of things. And then the incentive is not distributed to just me as a centralized entity. It's given to the network, which is value accrued by the token itself increasing value. And who are the people who hold this token? People who are running nodes, people who are early participants in the ecosystem.
So you're telling me like...
Yeah, I'll add to that a little. One other thing is most of these social networks currently make their money via advertisements. I mean, it's a thesis. Like we believe that, and it is kind of visible also, that advertisements will be replaced by activities, right? Like we're going to see a lot of activity-based incentives for people, like come share or like try to participate in the network, try to like stake some coins. So when protocols incentivize people, they want users, and for that we are looking to make sure the advertisements are replaced by activities in future.
All right, thank you very much. I hope that answers Vinay. So Vinay has dropped off, I think. Right. So I'll take last question from Govind. And Govind, so you have some time. You can ask your question.
Yeah. So first of all, Anuj and Amarnath, you're building on the Ethereum blockchain, right? You're taking the data out of Ethereum only right now, what I understand. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, we are indexing Ethereum.
Yeah,
we're not really building on any chain because we are basically building databases right now, but we are going cross-chain.
Okay. Now there's a problem. So, I run the biggest community with Harsha, All India Startups, and we discussed a lot about NFTs. and all these things last year. So one problem that I saw with the NFT project, it is one thing to, when a, popular person buys an NFT and then to, follow his lead and buy that NFT. But then, a lot of projects fail at delivering on the roadmap of the NFT which they have promised, right? So like utilities that they provide in the future. So is there any way to check, or will you build something like this where you can also track the utilities or the deliveries of these projects on the NFTs that they promise, or, probably do it in the wild?
I think it's a great question. Govind, you got muted, but yeah, I think I understand your question. So yes, so currently you're able to see profiles. The next iteration will have community. So we are going to look at, we are going to integrate all these things where a certain, let's say, for example, a certain NFT collection has another additional mint coming. We want that to be shown on the platform directly. Now, currently, you follow their Discord, which is extremely difficult to follow. You follow probably on Twitter, where information gets lost. So we want to accumulate that information and be able to show as well. If that answers my question, if that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amarnath. So excited to see it, and I'll connect you. I've followed you guys, so let's see, and we'll talk more. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Govind. Immortal, can you ask your question and be a little quick in asking that?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, Kashif, sir, and my brothers Dheeraj and Anuj for building this Web3 project. I'm a Desi guy from Haryana. तो मैं आपसे हिंदी में क्वेश्चन करना चाहूंगा।
अरे बिल्कुल यार, मैं कैथल गया हूँ, मैं जिंद गया हूँ, बोलो तुम कहाँ चलना है?
चलो सर, आपको बुलाएंगे। इंडस्ट्री में जब से हूँ, जब आप फर्स्ट वीडियो अपना बनाते थे ना, एडवोकेट, क्रिप्टो एडवोकेट करके।
हाँ, क्रिप्टो कानून।
दैट्स इट। तो NFT के बारे में ना मुझे ज्यादा नहीं पता एक्चुअली। मैं बिटकॉइन में ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट है अपना।
हाँ, तो क्वेश्चन क्या है आपका, या आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं, बताइए।
सर, मैं ये जानना चाहता हूँ कि हम अर्ली एडॉप्टर कैसे बन सकते हैं NFT के, जब बिलियंस ऑफ NFT इन फ्यूचर मिंट होनी है।
बहुत ही शानदार क्वेश्चन है यार तुम्हारा। अनुज, क्या ये एक्चुअली बहुत क्वेश्चन बहुत शॉर्ट था, लेकिन क्वेश्चन की डेप्थ बहुत ज्यादा है।
डीपली जाइए, बिकॉज़ टाइम कम है ना, आपने बोला तो।
हाँ, नहीं, मैं समझ गया।
It's really well structured question actually. To be very honest, it's a question a lot of people genuinely have no answer to. But I'll give you a perspective towards it, right? So something that I've noticed in the ecosystem, right? Like
अमरनाथ जी, इनको हिंदी में एक बार समझा देंगे तो
ठीक है। तो इकोसिस्टम में इंटरेस्ट के ऊपर डिपेंड होता है। मान लो आप म्यूजिक में इंटरेस्टेड हैं, आप सुबह रात, मतलब इफ आपका कीन इंटरेस्ट म्यूजिक में है, या कि आपका सबसे ज्यादा तजुर्बा या तो आर्ट में है या तो स्पोर्ट्स में है, तो आपका इंटरेस्ट के ऊपर डिपेंड होता है। बिकॉज ये सारे इकोसिस्टम्स में अभी एनएफटीज आ गए हैं। आर्ट में एनएफटीज है, म्यूजिक में एनएफटीज है।
आई एम गेटिंग योर पॉइंट ब्रो, आई एम गेटिंग योर पॉइंट। एक्चुअली जो बिग प्लेयर्स है, नाइकी, एडिडास, पेप्सी, एंड दे आर कमिंग इन एनएफटी।
करेक्ट।
ठीक है, सपोज मैं नाइकी के शूज ले लेता हूँ एनएफटीज में।
हाँ जी,
$1000 की, तो इन फ्यूचर क्या नाइकी और शूज मिंट नहीं करेगी?
हाँ करेगा, बिल्कुल करेगा, बिकॉज इट्स नाइकी, राइट? लाइक वो तो करेगा।
हाँ, व्हाट वाज द यूज ऑफ दिस एनएफटी इन रियल वर्ल्ड? जब तक हम मेटावर्स में नहीं जा सकते, अभी तक हम मेटावर्स के बारे में कंसेप्ट है, मेटावर्स में जाएंगे इन फ्यूचर, तो अभी एनएफटी का कोई यूज नहीं है मेटावर्स के बिना। एनएफटी विल बी वर्क एज
ऐसा नहीं है ना,
विल बी वर्क सर, एनएफटी विल बी वर्क एज एन ऑब्जेक्ट इन मेटावर्स।
Not necessarily, right? Like मेरा मानना ये है कि कलेक्शन जो लोग कलेक्ट करते हैं वो वाला।
आई थिंक अमर डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया वॉइस।
कशिफ सर
नहीं, आई कैन टेक दैट क्वेश्चन।
हाँ अनुज, बताइए।
दो चीजें हैं। पहले तो आपने जैसे बताया कि ये अगर मैं क्वेश्चन ठीक से समझा कि बहुत मिलियंस में ट्रांजैक्शंस हो रही है।
नहीं, मैं इनका क्वेश्चन रिपीट कर देता हूँ। बहुत सिंपल है। ये कह रहे हैं कि एनएफटी का, मैंने सपोज नाइकी का शूज लिया एज एन एनएफटी, मैंने आज कोई शूज लिया, आगे भी तो नाइकी के बहुत सारे एनएफटीज आएंगी, बहुत सारे शूज आएंगे, तो वो एनएफटीज का क्या रेलेवेंस क्या रहेगा फ्यूचर में? जैसे मैंने आज कोई पर्टिकुलर एनएफटी ली अगर नाइकी की, तो उसका फ्यूचर में क्या रेलेवेंस रहेगा मेटावर्स में? क्या वो रहेगा कि जब इतनी सारी एनएफटीज फ्यूचर में भी आनी, तो उसकी वैल्यू क्यों रहेगी?
सो आई थिंक उसके लिए हम एक बार जो एग्जिस्टिंग प्रेसिडेंस है हम उसकी भी देख सकते हैं. लाइक अगर मैं एक एग्जांपल देना चाहूँगा, देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड पंक पंक्स और देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड मेटा की. तो इनके जैसे डिफरेंट एडिशंस आए हैं. मतलब मेटा की का फॉर एग्जांपल 4 एडिशंस आए. पहले वाले एडिशन में कुछ 200 टाइप्स NFTs आई थी एंड देन फिर बढ़ता गया, अभी नंबर बढ़ रहा है. नाउ द थिंग इज देयर इज ऑलवेज लॉट ऑफ वैल्यू अक्रूवल. मतलब वो परसीव्ड वैल्यू है एज वेल एज डिमांड सप्लाई की भी इक्वेशन है कि आप अगर मान लो नाइकी की वे आप जूते खरीदते हो तो जो एयर जॉर्डन एक टाइम वाली जूते ज़्यादा में बिकती है कंपेयर टू समथिंग विच माइट बी प्रिंट गेटिंग मिंटेड टुडे. एक तो ये बात हो गई है, हिस्टोरिक वैल्यू क्रिएशन एक चीज़ हो गई है. दूसरा चीज़ ये हो गई है कि व्हेन नाइकी इज ऑल्सो डूइंग अ ड्रॉप. सो फॉर एग्जांपल मेटा की का मैं अगर एग्जांपल लूँ तो उसमें क्या किया है कि हर एक जो 4 एडिशंस है वो 4 एडिशंस के टाइम पे उन्होंने डिफरेंट डिफरेंट आर्टिस्ट के साथ जैसे कोलैबोरेट किया हुआ है. सिमिलर नाइकी भी आगे करेगा, डिफरेंट एडिशंस डालेगा, राइट. सो जब जब अलग अलग टाइप के एडिशंस के वो चीज़ कर रहा है, देर इज एन एडिशनल वैल्यू दैट कम्स बाय कौन सा आर्टिस्ट के साथ वो कोलैबोरेट कर रहा है और उसका वैल्यू कैसा बढ़ रहा है. एंड देन द थर्ड थिंग इज द नोशनल अंडरस्टैंडिंग दैट जब तक इसकी मेटावर्स में यूटिलिटी नहीं है तभी तक इसका कोई वैल्यू नहीं है. दैट इटसेल्फ माइट
बिल्कुल सर,
बी नॉट
बिल्कुल सही बात सर.
या.
तो एज एन मैं अर्ली अडॉप्टर नहीं बनना चाहता. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मैं इसका यूज केस देखना चाहता हूँ कि इन फ्यूचर में क्या होगा. तो बिलियंस ऑफ NFT आई कैन ऑल्सो मिंट. मैं आर्टिस्ट हूँ, मैं भी मिंट कर सकता हूँ. मैं सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपर हूँ.
इसका आंसर मैं देना चाहूँगा. सो पहले तो बहुत ही सिंपल और बहुत ही गहरा सवाल पूछा है आपने. तो इससे पहले टोकन क्या होता है ये समझना जरूरी है. मैं बहुत कम टाइम लूंगा. टोकन का सिंपल मतलब ये है, वो एक बात कन्वे करता है, अ पीस ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन या एक फैक्ट कन्वे करता है. अगर आप बिटकॉइन ओन करते हो या फिर आप एक NFT जैसे कूल कैट ओन करते हो या बोर्ड एप ओन करते हो, वो फैक्ट है कि आप ओन करते हो और वो कोई भी वेरीफाई कर सकता है. तो अगर आप एडिडास का एक NFT ओन करोगे, एक फिजिकल शू, तो आज अगर आप एडिडास का शू खरीदते हो, तो एडिडास सुपरस्टार लिया फॉर एग्जांपल. सो किसी को नहीं पता है कि वो आपने लिया है. एडिडास को खुद नहीं पता है क्योंकि आपने शोरूम से लिया और उसका कोई ट्रैक नहीं रहा कहीं भी. लेकिन अगर NFT ओन करोगे तो एडिडास को इंस्टेंटली पता है कि आप उनके सब्सक्राइबर हो. सबको, पूरी दुनिया को पता है कि आपने वो लिया है अगर आप उसको पब्लिक करते हो. और फिर वो उस इंफॉर्मेशन को किसी भी तरफ फ्यूचर में यूज कर सकते हैं. नाइकी को बाद में आपको शू बेचना है, वो आपको डिस्काउंटेड NFT दे देगा. या फिर किसी भी शू इवेंट में सारे एडिडास वाले कम्युनिटी मेंबर्स को बुलाना है, उसके लिए एक पार्टी ऑर्गेनाइज हो जाएगी. सो ये जो टोकन वाला फैक्ट है वो फिजिकल वर्ल्ड में तो इम्पोर्टेंट है ही है, लेकिन मेटावर्स में और भी इम्पोर्टेंट है क्योंकि इससे सब्सक्रिप्शंस बन सकते हैं, इससे कम्युनिटीज बन सकती हैं, उससे कुछ भी फ्यूचर के इवेंट्स प्लान हो सकते हैं. और इसलिए इनका स्कोप बहुत ज़्यादा है. तो इसमें अर्ली अडॉप्टर होने से ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है इन कम्युनिटीज़ के बारे में पता होना. और इसी के लिए वॉल जैसे सोशल नेटवर्क जो बन रहे हैं, जो चेन्स, मल्टीपल चेन्स के अक्रॉस सब डिस्कवर करवाएंगे, वो बहुत ज़रूरी है. हाँ, तो मेरा ये
ओके
मानना है.
सर, काशिफ सर से मेरा क्वेश्चन है.
बहुत. हाँ यार, पूछो, तुम मुझसे पूछो.
सर एक्चुअली जो भी मार्केट के ट्रेंड आते हैं, NFTs, डेफी, मेटावर्स, Web3 जो भी हैं, तो ये क्या हमें रियल वैल्यू से डिस्ट्रैक्ट नहीं करते?
रियल वैल्यू का क्या पे क्या
रियल वैल्यू
मतलब है?
derived फ्रॉम डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन लाइक बिटकॉइन.
हाँ
तो
देखिए, देखो, बहुत ही तुमने ना शानदार एक क्वेश्चन पूछा और बहुत रेलेवेंट क्वेश्चन है और इसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग बहुत बहुत जरूरी है. देखो, राइट. तो सबसे पहले
ट्रेंड ना सर, 3 साइकिल कंप्लीट चल रहा है, 3rd साइकिल ये मार्केट का. और ये ऐसे ना बहुत सारे ट्रेंड आए और गए. Web3 के बारे में हम जो बात कर रहे हैं, Web2 को जो थोड़ा सा हम आगे बढ़ जाते हैं तो ऑटोमेटिक Web3 का नाम दिया जा सकता है. पीपल वांट डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन विद ब्लॉकचेन और AI, दैट इज Web3. बट रियल वर्ल्ड में कोई ऐसी एप्लीकेशन नहीं है जिसको वो बोल दें कि ये Web3 है.
राइट. देखो, सबसे बड़ी बात, इंपॉर्टेंट बात को समझो कि तुमने एक बात बोली कि जो रियल वैल्यू थी जो बिटकॉइन ने क्रिएट करी, तो सबसे पहले सतोशी नाकामोटो लोगों को ये लगता है कि सतोशी नाकामोटो ने एक रियल वैल्यू लेके आए बिटकॉइन के रूप में। पहली बार एक मॉनेटरी वैल्यू को आप एक जगह से दूसरी जगह भेज सकते थे, एक आदमी दूसरे इंसान को भेज सकता था बिना किसी इंस्टीट्यूशन पे रिलाय किए। 2008 से पहले अगर आपको कैश भेजना था तो सिर्फ दो ही तरीके थे कैश को भेजने के लिए, मॉनेटरी वैल्यू को भेजने के लिए। जैसे सपोज अगर कोई इंडिया में है, उसको अमेरिका में मिलना है, तो वो इंडिया से फ्लाइट पकड़े और अमेरिका में जाके डायरेक्टली कैश दे। या तो एक ये तरीका था, दूसरा तरीका था कि बैंक्स के थ्रू वो पैसा भेजे, कोई तीसरा तरीका नहीं था। सतोशी नाकामोटो ने 2008 के अंदर ये पॉसिबल करके दिखाया कि किस तरीके से एक इंसान दूसरे इंसान को वैल्यू भेज सकता है बिना किसी फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन पे या इंटरमीडियरी पे रिलाई किए। ये अमेजिंग था। इसके बाद से दुनिया बदल गई। दुनिया 2008 से पहले कुछ और थी, 2008 के बाद दुनिया कुछ और हो गई। इस फैसिनेटिंग जो डेवलपमेंट थी, ये कोई एक रात की नहीं थी। इससे पहले भी 35 साल की रिसर्च थी साइफर पंक्स की। साइफर पंक्स ने जो अलग अलग चीजों पे, क्रिप्टोग्राफी पे, इंक्रिप्शन पे जो रिसर्च किया, काम किया, वो 30 साल की मेहनत जो थी, 35 साल की मेहनत रंग लाई और उसके बेसिस पे बिटकॉइन बना। तो क्या बिटकॉइन एंड है? बिटकॉइन एंड था इस जर्नी का? नहीं, बिटकॉइन एक फैसिनेटिंग आउटकम था 35 साल की रिसर्च का, जो साइफर पंक्स ने करी, एरिक ह्यूज ने, डेविड शॉम ने, एडम ब्लैक ने, इन लोगों ने करी। उसके बाद सतोशी नाकामोटो बिटकॉइन लेके आया। क्या बिटकॉइन एंड है? नहीं। बिटकॉइन के बाद जो बिटकॉइन की जो टेक्नोलॉजी थी, जिस तरीके से वो डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन, जिस तरीके से उसने इस पूरे नेटवर्क को जो सेंसरशिप रेजिस्टेंट, इम्यूटेबल और डिसेंट्रलाइज बनाया बिटकॉइन को, उसी के वर्च्यूज को, उसी के इथोस को इथेरियम ने लिया और इथेरियम ने बोला कि क्यों ना इसके ऊपर स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स बनाए जाए। और स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स ने एक अलग दुनिया प्रेजेंट करी। और आज उन स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स के ऊपर जब आप एग्रीमेंट्स को ऑटोमेटिकली एक कोड के थ्रू जब एग्जीक्यूट कर सकते हो, तो पूरी दुनिया में एक अलग लेवल की पॉसिबिलिटीज हो गई। आज पूरी दुनिया के अंदर हम फाइनेंशियल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर जो है वो स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स पे रन हो सकता है। इसी तरीके से एनएफटीज जो है, जो हमने देखा, डिजिटल आर्ट, म्यूजिक, जो कि डिजिटली सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम ये होती थी कि ओनरशिप कैसे डिफाइन करे, कैसे वेरीफाई करे ओनरशिप, उसको फिर हम लोगों ने किया। आज हम देख रहे हैं कि वो डाओ जो है वो जब ऑटोमेटिकली एक अग्रीमेंट एग्जीक्यूट हो सकता है स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के थ्रू, तो ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस क्यों नहीं बन सकती? वो बनने लग गई। तो पॉसिबिलिटीज जो है वो इमेंस है। तो स्टेप बाय स्टेप हम वेब3 के अंदर, वेब3 कोई टर्म ऐसा नहीं है कि हमें विरासत में या डिक्शनरी के अंदर प्रेजेंट था। आज दुनिया को दिख रहा है कि हम वेब 1 में नहीं रहे, हम वेब 2 में चले गए। वेब 1 के चैलेंजेस को खत्म किया हम वेब 2 में गए। अब वेब 2 के कुछ चैलेंजेस आ रहे हैं, हम वेब 3 में जा रहे हैं। और वेब 3 भी कोई अल्टीमेट आउटकम नहीं है। हो सकता है वेब 3 के भी जो चैलेंजेस हैं वो हमें आगे किसी और वेब की तरफ ले जाए। तो ये हमारा नेचुरल प्रोग्रेशन है। जब से इंसान बना है, ह्यूमैनिटी जब से बनी है, इंसान जब बार्टर सिस्टम में था, उसको लगा कि बार्टर सिस्टम के चैलेंजेस हैं, तो वो उस तब से लेके आज हम जिस पोजीशन पे पहुंचे हैं, ये हजारों लाखों साल की हमारी नेचुरल प्रोग्रेशन है। और हम आगे भी बढ़ते चले जाएंगे। किसी चीज पे रुक जाने का नाम, अगर रुक ही गए हम किसी चीज पे, स्टैटिक हो गए, तो फिर वो उसको इनोवेशन कैसे कहेंगे? तो हम रियल वैल्यू से भटक नहीं रहे। हम जितनी भी इकोनॉमी के अंदर, बिटकॉइन का अपना एक रोल है, इथेरियम का अपना एक रोल है, और ये पूरा इकोसिस्टम जो डेवलप हो रहा है। और मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूं कि बिटकॉइन के अराउंड डीफाई नहीं बन सकता, बिटकॉइन के अराउंड भी डीफाई बन रहा है, बिटकॉइन के अराउंड भी बहुत सारी चीजें हो रही है। लेकिन जो L1 में और बेस लेयर्स पे जो चीजें बन रही हैं, ये पूरे इकोसिस्टम जो है हमें एक ऐसी डायरेक्शन में लेके जा रहा है जिसका नाम वेब3 है, जो कि हमें कोर ऑब्जेक्टिव से भटका नहीं रहा है। हम भटक नहीं रहे। हमें सिर्फ ये करना है कि जो डिसीजंस हम वेब3 के अंदर ले रहे हैं, तो वो हमें इस तरीके से, ये वॉल जैसे जो प्रोटोकॉल्स आ रहे हैं, जो चीजें बन के आ रही हैं, ये हमें हेल्प करेंगी अपनी डिसीजन मेकिंग को इजी करने के लिए। आई होप कि मेरा आंसर आपको कनेक्ट कर पा रहे हो, कि ये आंसर आपको किस डायरेक्शन में ले जाने की कोशिश कर रहा है आपकी सोच को।
डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया वो शायद से।
प्रॉब्लम। सो जो मेरा लास्ट, अगर कोई और यहाँ पे, गोविंद हैज ऑलरेडी, आयुषी,
Kashif, can I add a quick point? Meanwhile, वो आयुषी कनेक्ट कर
हाँ।
तो इस क्वेश्चन में भी और वैसे भी क्वेश्चंस में एनएफटी में जब भी बात होती है ना, आई गेस वो सर्कल कहाँ कंप्लीट होता है, व्हेन दीज प्रोजेक्ट्स स्टार्ट डिलीवरिंग ऑन द यूटिलिटीज, और हम उसको कहीं से ट्रैक भी कर सकें। तो वंस वी आर एबल टू डू इट, तो आई गेस जैसे स्टॉक्स के साथ होता है, ऑन आईपीओ द डेट इज मतलब रेट अलग हुआ है ना, जो भी उसका स्टॉक का होगा, बट वंस दैट कंपनी स्टार्ट डिलीवरिंग, स्टार्ट मेकिंग रेवेन्यूज और वो बैलेंस शीट पे दिखता है, तो स्टॉक प्राइस राइज और फॉल उसके हिसाब से होता है। तो आई गेस दैट विल बी वन ऑफ द फैक्टर कि यूटिलिटी हम कैसे ट्रैक करते हैं।
अच्छा, मैं एक फिलोसॉफिकल बात कहना चाहता हूँ, ठीक है? लाइक, तो इशू मतलब माय इशू विद उसका क्वेश्चन था कि यू वाज टॉकिंग अबाउट वैल्यू, एंड वैल्यू सिर्फ मनी पे नहीं होता है, ठीक है? हम लोग ह्यूमन बीइंग्स है, एंड वी एसोसिएट वैल्यू विथ एनीथिंग एंड एवरीथिंग, राइट? लाइक, just to give an example, agar, like, all these collectible markets exist because we are associating some sentimental or some emotional value to objects in our nature. मतलब मैंने अभी कल पॉन स्टार करके शो आता है डिस्कवरी पे, वो लाइक यू नो दे run a pawn shop where you can buy and sell old items and whatnot. So there was a 300-year-old Shiva statue which someone had gotten to sell it. और उसमें क्या डिफरेंट था कि शिवा जनरली का जो स्टैच्यू होते हैं वो टाइम पे उनकी उनकी एक पैर राइट लेग इज ऊपर, बट दिस वन डिडंट हैव, सो इट हैड अ हायर वैल्यू। तो इसका मतलब आप एक्चुअली देखोगे, उसका जो आइटम देखोगे, उसका मतलब समझो ब्रॉन्ज से बनाया या सिल्वर से बनाया, उसका कॉस्ट इतना नहीं होता है, बट जो हिस्टोरिकल सिग्निफिकेंस है उसके वजह से आपको मल्टीपल्स मिलते हैं, जो भी ये है। तो हम लोग, वी शुड नॉट ओनली लुक वैल्यू एज लाइक जस्ट सिग्निफिकेंट इन टर्म्स ऑफ कि क्या यूटिलिटी है, बट अलग अलग चीजों के अलग अलग भी वैल्यू हो सकते हैं। तो मतलब दिस इज वन इशू, लाइक यू नो, अगर आप ये नहीं समझोगे तो आपको एनएफटी नहीं समझेगा कि हम लोग क्यों बचपन में पीकॉक के फेदर्स कलेक्ट करते थे, पोस्ट स्टैम्प क्यों कलेक्ट करते हैं, कॉइन्स क्यों कलेक्ट करते हैं। तो उसका कुछ लाइक द वैल्यू ऑफ अ कॉइन इज स्टिल 50 पैसे, पर वो थोड़ा रेयर है, थोड़ा ओल्ड है या आउट ऑफ सर्कुलेशन है, तो उसका मे बी आपको 50 पैसे का 5 रुपए मिल जाए। तो ऑल दीज थिंग्स, और इट कुड बी स्टिल 50 पैसा, बट अगर आपके पापा ने आपको वो फर्स्ट कॉइन एज अ बर्थडे गिफ्ट दिया है तो उसका कुछ सेंटिमेंटल वैल्यू है। तो लाइक यू नो, वैल्यू इज वे मोर देन जस्ट मॉनिटरी वैल्यू। सो लाइक यू हैव टू थिंक अबाउट things in a very deep and open way to understand. तो another question, like you know, another क्या बोलते हैं, another parallel we can draw if you understand money better is, अभी करोड़ों कंपनी ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्ट करते हैं, मैं न्यू कंपनी क्यों बनाऊं और उसका क्या वैल्यू होगा? ठीक है, मैं फंड रेज करने गया तो, या स्टॉक मार्केट में ऑलरेडी 6,000 कंपनी है, नया आईपीओ क्यों खरीदूं? क्यों? क्योंकि तुम लोग कर रहे हो ना, स्पेकुलेट कर रहे हो कि इसका कुछ ना कुछ हो सकता है। या सिद कोड इज अ वेरी नाइस डिजाइनर, मे बी 10 years later he goes and becomes, I don't know, head of Google or whatever, just right, and maybe that's why I'm buying his artwork now. So all these things also come into picture. Money is not the only thing which is valuable. Like a signed jersey from Sachin Tendulkar could also be like worth lot more value than just the price of ink and the jersey itself. So think of it in this way.
Right, absolutely. And I think sports NFTs are going to be the next big thing. And not just sports NFTs, but I think even the big stars, you know, Hollywood stars or Bollywood stars and musics, you know, creators. So I think there are going to be separate platforms for these. I think licensed platforms is also going to be the next big thing, you know, in NFT space. And I always tell people that now the value is being created. You know, most of the people are spending their lives on internet, and you know, close to 60 to 70% of your life is being spent on screens on internet. So that's the reason the value is being created here. Imagine a situation where I go to maybe Germany or Berlin or any place in the world, and suppose I buy Louis Vuitton and I buy those shoes or a belt during COVID era. Suppose I'm not able to step out of my home for 3 months, and that Louis Vuitton belt or a Louis Vuitton shoe is lying in my cupboard, and I just wanted to wear them and show it to my my circle that I've just bought them, but what I can do with them? Those are lying in the cupboard because I'm not able to step out of my house. Now, suppose a similar Louis Vuitton or Adidas original or a Nike limited edition shoe, if I have it as an NFT, I can always flaunt it on digital in my digital world, and that is going to be the case here. And when I use the word flaunt, it might, some people might take it as something that not everybody flaunts, but at the end of the day, when we buy stuff, we are trying to communicate something. We are trying to communicate our personalities, right? So if I'm wearing a Ray-Ban, that communicates something about me. If I'm wearing a particular brand, that communicates something about my personality. So my NFTs are also kind of explain my personality. And sooner or later you'll figure out, people will have different multiple personalities, in fact, in this going forward. I think so. Once again, this is like a human progression of owning something in the world where they're spending more time. Earlier we were spending time in the real world when there was no internet. We were creating value in that world. Now when we are proceeding in a digital world, we're spending our time there, we're spending our life there, we are spending most of the we are creating most of the stuff there, we are writing there, we are creating content there, we are reading blogs there. Whatever we are doing in the internet and digital arena. So definitely things we are going to possess are something. NFTs makes that much sense, and that's the reason this particular industry, this particular sector is booming like crazy. And there are going to be challenges, I'm sure, but then again, projects like Wall, Anuj and Amarnath are definitely going to solve a lot of problems. I think on NFT specifically, today I'm announcing that I'll have a separate session with Anuj, Dheeraj, and Amarnath only on NFTs, and we'll discuss, NFTs, and I'll try and make a concept in a way that somebody who's trying to start their journey in NFT space can, just listen to that space and probably can figure out, okay, how I'm supposed to start it, and probably we can also recommend some NFTs there as well, and where we
I think thoda sa just having just a perspective on कि हम कैसे चीजों को देख रहे हैं. I think that itself
100%
will help like people break a lot of mental barriers, because like Dheeraj was talking about like the pawn stars thing, that's something which is very true. मतलब वो एक, and that is the reason काफी ये जो वेस्ट में फटा हुआ है, इंडिया में उतना नहीं फटा, प्राइमरीली बिकॉज वो कलेक्टर वाली माइंडसेट एंड वो पुरानी चीजें कलेक्ट करने वाली जो चीजें.
बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे हो. वो पॉन शॉप यहाँ नहीं है ना. अब वेस्ट में चले जाओ, कितनी पॉन शॉप्स है, और वो पॉन शॉप्स बहुत मतलब उनका बहुत ट्रैक्शन है. इनफैक्ट पॉन शॉप्स के ऊपर तो ऑलरेडी यू हैव प्रोग्राम्स ऑन डिस्कवरी. हिस्ट्री टीवी 18 पे एक प्रोग्राम आता था, उस पे भी एक था.
Even though we are like towards the end of this conversation, if we have like a couple of minutes, would love to welcome Venkatesh in the chat. Kyunki he's someone who's been he has like a few 100,000, like I think 4-5 lakh YouTube viewership, and he talks a lot of things about NFTs, and he himself is a digital artist and has been educating in the space for a while. So maybe you can say hi, but don't think कि बहुत ज़्यादा हम बात कर पाएंगे अभी, but वो जो आप NFT space की बात कर रहे हो, would love to welcome him also there.
Sure. So offline we can have a discussion, and we can bring people as a speaker. I'll definitely require a strong recommendation from your side where we can invite people and have a right discussion, and we'll have a marathon 3 hours kind of a session, and so we'll figure out a time and a day, and उसके अंदर ना एक चीज क्लियर कर देंगे यार. मतलब NFT को लेके किसी को कोई कंफ्यूजन नहीं रहनी चाहिए. कहाँ से बाई करनी है, कौन सी बाई करनी है, कैसे बाई करनी है, क्यों बाई करनी है. We'll get everything answered at one place. वो
Kashif,
उसका
we are missing
announcement में
one
जल्दी
thing.
करूँगा.
Can I add very quickly in
Yeah.
NFT? So अभी ना हम digital की बात कर रहे हैं and we believe that NFT is only about digital. It's not. निखिल यहाँ है तो निखिल ने जो Sunburn का access दिया था that was through NFTs. Gary Vee has a restaurant that has an NFT access. So NFT will not only be something that you'll flaunt in the metaverse, it will also solve real world problems. हमने उसके कुछ use cases देख लिए हैं और use cases उसके और आएंगे. तो I guess in the real world also you'll be seeing NFTs. Yeah, that's what I want to say.
I'll just add to that very quickly. One of the most interesting use cases I have personally worked on in the NFT ecosystem was not from now. It's actually from 2019, 2020, where invoice financing we have actually created the invoice as an NFT. So in the financial transactions that happen, we have used invoice as an NFT as well. So going forward, even in supply chain or even in multiple real world industries, we are going to see this technology explode. We are exploring the creative side of this industry at this point. And so we are going towards like full scale implementation in multiple ecosystems.
हाँ, ये मैं बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हो. कल को मैं अपनी गाड़ी जो है उसको पे उसकी जो रजिस्ट्री है या उसकी घर के जो पेपर है, कागज है, वो भी NFT के फॉर्म में you can create रियल वर्ल्ड जो एसेट्स हैं वो भी कन्वर्ट हो जाएंगी NFTs में फ्यूचर में. एंड आई थिंक ट्रैवल इंडस्ट्री के अंदर बहुत अगर मुझे स्विट्जरलैंड जाना है और मुझे स्विट्जरलैंड की जून की मेरी टिकट्स हैं और मुझे वहाँ पे मेरे को यूरो रेल की मेरे पास अगर टिकट्स है, NFT है और कोविड आ जाता है जून के अंदर, तो मैं कैंसिलेशन ना करके उसको सेल कर सकता हूँ मार्केट प्लेस में फ्यूचर में. एंड एनीबडी इंटरेस्टेड कैन बाय दैट टिकट फ्रॉम मी ऑन अ मार्केट प्लेस. तो ट्रैवल इंडस्ट्री इज गोइंग टू डिसरप्ट. सो देयर आर गोइंग टू बी वेरी different kind of NFTs in future. And but today, as somebody said that they want to start their journey in NFT, उनके लिए we'll create a session जहाँ पे PFP, क्योंकि we know that at this very juncture PFPs are taking off, right? So उस केस में कैसे कोई स्टार्ट कर सकता है, फिर कितने तरह की NFTs हैं, वो एक सेशन करेंगे फ्यूचर में. अनुज एंड अमरनाथ, thank you very much for this.
Thank you
I
very
think
much, Kashif bhai.
we started at 1:30. It's already 4. It's so I think I enjoyed every second of it, to be honest. And thank you very much, Nikhil. Thank you, Govind. Thank you, Amarnath. Thank you, Anuj. And all the everybody who's there in this Twitter space and people who actually ask questions. And there are still requests are coming in. But I'm sorry, I'm not able to take them. Maybe next time I'll definitely give you an opportunity, because otherwise it will continue to go on. And I have another 2 spaces lined up today. So I need a little break. I'll be very honest about it. And that's what we are here. I'm here to educate. I'm here to set the right narratives. I'm here to bring the right people ahead and tell their stories, tell their projects, what they're doing, how they're planning. I hope that you liked this session. You got some answer to your questions. And if you really like this session, यार please ट्विटर पे एक बार जाके बताओ यार, मोटिवेशन मिलती है, कुछ अच्छा करने का मन करता है. सुबह को उठ के जब आप वॉश बेसिन पे खड़े होके ब्रश कर रहे होते हो ना, तो आप अपने आप को शीशे में देखते हो तो यू फील लाइक डूइंग समथिंग गुड टुडे. वो एक अंदर से एक एनर्जी का फील आता है दैट आज कुछ करना है यार, कुछ करना है, बेटर करना है आज. सो दैट्स आई रियली वांट यू पीपल टू टॉक अबाउट इट. कैसा लगा ये सेशन? अनुज एंड अमरनाथ, क्लोजिंग रिमार्क्स.
Firstly, thank you so much for conducting this space, and I think you've been very kind to us in putting that title. I think first and foremost, I would love for each one of you to just type Wall.app in the browser and just check it out. Right, it's a free to use product. It's not a marketplace. You don't have to pay anything. You can just go see it out and see what are some of the things that's happening in the NFT world. You can just browse it just like you're browsing your Twitter and Facebook. So would love for you all to try that out, and if possible, join the Discords and give us some feedback. What are the things that you like? Some of the questions that you might have. आपको कुछ समझ में आ रहा है, कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, या फिर आपको लग रहा है ये बेटर हो सकता है, ऐसी कुछ भी चीज़ें, please do DM us. That we have a channel for feedback. We have a channel for Ask the Team. So would love to hear from you all there. And if you like anything, if you, for example, आपका प्रोफाइल है, अगर आपके NFTs के प्रोफाइल है, प्लीज़ शेयर दैट ऑन ट्विटर. आपने कुछ एक्टिविटी देखा जो आपको इंटरेस्टिंग लगा, जो पोटेंशियल अल्फा है, प्लीज़ शेयर दैट विथ एवरीवन, सो more and more people can just know about the product. And thank you so much, Kashif, for conducting this spaces.
Thanks a lot, Anuj. Amarnath, kuch closing remarks from your side?
Absolutely. Likewise, thank you so much, Kashif bhai. You've been very kind. You are a very, very important piece in the Indian ecosystem for mainstream adoption. I see that happening because education is really important. So one thing I would really like to stress is a lot of Web3 ecosystem for a long time was for traders and developers, but now around it's for users. And we are positioning ourselves as an application to ensure mainstream adoption of people happens. And that is our centerpiece of why we are doing what we are doing, and we will continue to do so. And we want to make sure every part of the world, people have access to this kind of technology where users are owners of products. Thank you so much, Kashif bhai.
Thank you, Amarnath, and thank you, Anuj. And we'll conduct a Twitter session, Twitter space in future only on NFTs. With this thought, thank you very much, guys. I hope you enjoyed this session. Thank you.